music, fire, energy, all building up toward the biggest show Free Fire has ever put on. What an epic end to the FFWS Global Finals 2025. Congratulations to our world champions, Boomerang United Esports. A Guinness World Record-breaking esports event attended by over 600,000 participants.
Every season begins with a spark. A small flame that dares to dream bigger than the odds. This is when a flame turns into fire and ambition ignites destiny. Welcome to the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2025, where Asia's greatest survivors gather to face their ultimate test. This online tournament brings together 26 teams across 2 game modes, Battle Royale and Class Squad. The action takes place online spanning 3 weeks. Week 1, the Battle Royale play-ins. Week 2, the Battle Royale main event. And Week 3, the Class Squad main event. Starting December 5th, 18 teams will join the Battle Royale play-ins from the following countries: 8 from India, 5 from Bangladesh, 2 from Nepal, and 1 each from Thailand, Vietnam, and Indonesia. They will be divided into 3 groups: Group A, B, and C, with 6 teams in each group. Over the next 3 days, a round-robin showdown erupts. Every team faces every challenger. When the smoke clears, only the top 10 teams will rise and march into Week 2. Week 2, the fire grows stronger. On December 11th, the top 10 survivors from the Battle Royale play-ins come face-to-face with 8 Titans of Asia at the Battle Royale main event. Total Gaming, SATUL Elite, Red Hawks, DRS Gaming, Team Falcons, P Esports, Bigatron by Vitality, and Matmal Esports Club will join the battle, forming a fresh roster of 18 teams competing to be the champions of Asia. Divided once again into 3 groups of 6 teams each. Another round robin takes place over 3 days, after which the top 12 teams qualify for the Battle Royale Grand Finals. And the top 16 teams qualify for the Clash Squad main event. On December 14th, 12 teams step into the Battle Royale Grand Finals, which will be played in the Champion Rush mode. If any team achieves A points and secures a Booyah in the next game, they will be crowned champions. Failing to do so, the match goes on till 10 games and the highest scoring team wins. Week 3 is when the stage resets and the tactics change. Starting December 18th, the top 16 teams from the Battle Royale main event will now fight it out in the Clash Squad main event. Over the next 4 days, the teams will enter a single elimination bracket with best of 3 chances to survive. The top 2 teams will feature in the Clash Squad Grand Finals. On December 21st, 2 teams will battle it out in the best of 5 format to decide who gets to carve their name into history. These teams will battle not just for glory, but for a $50,000 prize pool. $35,000 for the Battle Royale mode and $15,000 for the Clash Squad mode. But above everything, they claim their right to be called Asia's champions. This December, the fire will burn brighter than ever, and new stories will be written at the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational 2025. So it's time to fuel your fire.
We are in main event. This is one of the places that most of the teams desire to go ahead and get the majority of the chunk, as it is super important for them to assert that domination. And that's where we head towards the prize pool, which is of around 35,000 US dollars.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a third or almost a third of that would be going into champions, $10,000. Second place with 5,000, and it goes down drastically. And one good story, though, for those who have already made it at this level of the tournament is they will still be getting a piece of the pie, because even the 18th place or 13 to 18th place will still be getting $650. But will you be satisfied in just getting not even 1,000? I guess the teams would want even more, so they need to put in the numbers to get the numbers as well.
Exactly, they need to crunch it up, and this is the time for them to showcase. For Group B, this is do or die, and just imagine the kind of sword that they already have down on their neck. So it's for them. Who needs to go ahead and start buckling up? As you see, 13 to 18 spot, you barely get anything. It's like peanuts, and you need the champion's position. It's like $10,000. And I don't even think about conversion yet, so that's one of the good parts.
Yeah, I mean, for some, when it has been converted, yes, it would be like huge, I would say, especially for those who had better conversion against the USDs. But let's see if they will be going for the conversion, because this is the best conversion that we will be looking for. If you grab that booyah, it converts to 12 coins. It goes down drastically to the second and one. It goes down by 1 until you reach the 10th place. Unfortunately, 11 and 12 place doesn't get you anything, and you need to top it up with elimination. One elimination is equivalent to 1 point, but just in case there will be any tie within the tournament, we go for the number of points first, and then the total elimination. And then if that doesn't break at all, you go for the rankings in the final game.
That's right. But that fuel that we usually talk about, which fuels the fire in within you, that's the elimination game. Most of the team have been doing a phenomenal job yesterday itself. Oh my god, Bigatron, Vitality, Cheebos, my oh my. Whenever you see them, they're the ones to overshadow any other team who has received the booyah. So that's how you do it. You get the eliminations, you're at the top.
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean, this is one part that teams are utilizing to get those elimination, the unique active skill. And the combination that we're seeing all throughout this tournament, especially when they grab the booyah, we are shown on what they're using, is just phenomenal, because at some point, some are going off meta, or even like a few years or a few updates back, just to make sure it matches their play style. And I'm loving how each team are using it, not only for every day or each day, but some of the teams are also adjusting based on the map. If you need so much of that Skylar's Riptide Rhythm, then you go for that, especially in Kalahari. But if you change it up a little bit, it also changes your perspective as well as your performance in this game. So let's see if that's something that we might see, or some new things that we might see, especially in active skill department, every time we get that booyah.
Hey, there's one thing that I would like to mention. The way the Falcons are going to be taking the flight for today. As the flight paths, whether it's going to be skewed, whether it's going to be straight up, or it's going to help them out. But this is that team that's going to be at the spotlight. Look at the amount of W's that they have received just in 2025. And we're just summarizing it. This might be another one under their belt.
Yeah, I mean, all those W's is equivalent to the word world. Esports World Cup, Free Fire World Series, and UC. I mean, twice champion. Twice champion of Clash Squad and the dual champion from the previous Southeast Asia fall. These teams, when we thought that they're already down, they are out, they are still flying high. And I guess there's a chance for them to really take that flight and move above everyone else, even against Bigatron by Vitality, who we know for a fact from the past has been hunting the Falcons clearly.
The things that we can do and witness today, my goodness. I've been waiting for 12 December, not gonna lie, Neptune there. I've been waiting for 12 December since a really long time, and I was like, you know what? Falcons are gonna set foot in such a good competitive environment. Who's gonna win that? Who's gonna assert domination? That's still one of the questions which is buzzing around in my head. But look at the way the teams list can showcase the kind of brutality that we will witness today.
Yeah, we have starting it off with AVIDA, XKDZ, GB Esports, Godlike, IQOO Reckoning, NG Pros, as well as Team Falcons, and we have GODLIKE, KAGENDRA, Nightmare, REVENANT, XSPARK, IQOO, Total Gaming, as well as Red Hawks in this Group A and B. I'm really looking forward to how it's going to turn up. But for those in Group B, I mean, this is danger zone for them. If they don't move up, if they don't gather that much point, they might be kicked out of the tournament.
That's right. We are looking on you, God of War.
প্রত্যেকটা বক্তা ফিরা লাগবে না করতে বিপক্ষে চোখ ক্লান্ত একটু ঘুমাও
To perform today. Today is a chance for them to showcase how well they can up that elimination game. REVENANT XSPARK, we have seen them. The moment they head towards the final days, they start performing so well. And that's where I would love to see this team clash it out against the best of the best.
Yeah, let's see now the best of best right now as we look into the team highlight. And again, AVIDA x KDC, we've seen them perform from the BR play-ins before GOW take their place in that #1 spot. But you know for a fact that they have something of that thigh mechanics on them. And then we saw GB Esports, one of the teams that went in for the back-to-back Booyah. GODLIKE Esports also provides so much perspective in how to play it more strategically, and I want to see more of that in this fight.
Oh goodness, NG Pros, Team Falcons. There's a really nice mix of their entire roster, and the way they have been performing so far, Team Falcons, they look undisputable. They're the champions of this entire 2025. I would say the entire year has been so good for them. It's been blessed, and that's where NG Pros, KAGENDRA, GOW, all three of them go ahead, and it's not even equivalent to Falcons. So let's see how well teams are going to go ahead. It's either going to be I would say a target on the back of Falcons to not go ahead and be able to perform that well in day one, or it's straight up them just flourishing again and again, soaring high right above the sky and getting those points.
See if they will be able to do so, because we're seeing the last set, if I'm not mistaken, of the teams that will be fighting for today. We have Nightmare, REVENANT XSPARK, IQOO Total Gaming, as well as Red Hawks. And for some of the teams that is part of this list, some like Red Hawks, they were strong in the beginning, but they were faltering towards the end. And even for those who were part of BR play-ins, it seems like they slowed down when some of the top dogs, the invited teams, has been introduced. So let's see if this is where it changed. Like information has been relayed already on how they played for day #1, and this is a chance for them to really make those change. So let's take a look on where we are going to be brought into in terms of map. It started off in Lucifer's place, Lucifer's land, wherein this is Purgatory, and then we go to the OG map in game #2, and then Alpine chilling like a villain right there in game #3, and then speaking of Lucifer and Crips will be joining us on game #4 in Kalahari, Nextera, as well as Solara.
It's a very fun mix. A really grueling competition right at the word go. Purgatory, Bermuda being such a map where most of the teams just know the defaults, know the meta of the opponents, but still imagine having that one step forward which will give them the benefit of the overall situation. That's one thing to master, and if a team knows how to harness it, then Bermuda is your map. Alpine, we usually say people love to chill here, but oh my god, the snowfall has seen so much action that sometimes I just say that it's going to be a landslide victory for a few of them.
Yeah, it seems like on that area, it's not only snow that is falling. So teams unsuspecting teams would be falling in snowfall. But let's take a look on the teams that are potentially be falling out of the picture. We have 6 teams to be exact, and they need to get at least 135 points to qualify. This is assumption from everyone, and this is what we want to see. More of the numbers being brought in, it increases the odds of them getting into the grand finals.
That's right. 75 points looks the highest here which IQOO Total Gaming have currently in their pockets. Oh sorry, 81 KAGENDRA. But this is the final chance for them to showcase that they can at least reach the threshold that we have already pictured for them. 135, yes, kind of, but if you set it a bit more higher as well, that's all right. That's fine by us. Prove us wrong is what I can say at this point, Neptune. But 135 is the bare minimum that these teams need to dish out, either by getting those elimination points or by getting the position advantage. You get those 12, get the booyah, it doesn't matter, but you need to reach towards 135 or above.
Yeah, definitely. And we want to ask the viewers out there, chat, tell us, is 135 enough to get into grand finals? Let us know on the comment section right now if this, do you think the teams will be able to reach it, especially for those from Group B who won't be able to make 135. What is your analysis on this number, and what would be your, I would say, your take on what would be the threshold that everyone needs to take? Because we're all gearing up, preparing for the first map, and we've seen that in our schedule. We're going to start it off in Purgatory. So let's take a peek on where teams will be landing when we jump into this map. And you know how it is. Hot drops might be ensuing right here, especially in the preferred drop spot from teams.
Well, IQOO Total Gaming, they're not going to be heading towards Central, not at all. I know where they're going to head towards. It's Crossroads. And if it is godlike, they would head there as well. The clash between these two teams is going to be so much fun to look at. Both houses, that's one of the temporary places for even GB Esports to go ahead and showcase how well they can perform. Plus, the rotation game needs to be on point. Brasilia, one of the key spots where three teams are going to dish out the damage. That's fun. But all eyes on the prize. Where will Team Falcons head towards? Lumberville? Nah, if they head towards Brasilia, that's where the action will begin.
Yeah, let's see now if this is, they're going to start it off strong or probably slow. And we know how it is with Team Falcons. They want to go tactical. They don't want to be that aggressive, but they wait for the perfect timing. I mean, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and this is one of the team that made that number stick when it comes to aggression, because they don't show up like halfway through, and then later on when we see them, they're just wreaking havoc all across, and no one was expecting that.
Well, if they're going to be chilling, might as well chill like a villain. Like most of the time, whenever we see these teams just trying to figure out what's happening in the overall lobby, it takes them some time. It takes them some time to understand all of that, get in the groove, and once they are in it, Neptune, I just feel that it's going to be a lot more chaotic. So after third map is where the action begins, and I envy Crips and Lucifer for this a lot. Because the starting 3 is just going to be like, oh, okay, we have this kind of a pace, let's just go ahead and roll it forward. If they know how to roll it well, that's one of the good places for them. But talking about this one spot, Neptune, let's see whether our Russian roulette of selecting few teams, they're going to head towards top 3 or not.
Well, right now we have two teams that seems similar, two teams that seem similar from both. It is Falcons and AVIDA. Both of them coming from Thailand right now, but I do take REVENANT XSPARK. I've seen their spark from the BR play-ins, even from yesterday. So I want that spark to be a blaze for today.
All right, and I have chosen IQOO Total Gaming solely because of their aggression. Whenever it comes to this map specifically, the start itself is going to look so good. Purgatory is one of the places where they just love to play around with the opponents, get those eliminations right off the bat, and Crossroads is one of the places where either they start off with a really good note or they might end up eliminating themselves. So it's a very extreme situation. As godlike, they just love to take this fight against them in that specific spot. Let's see whether it's going to be the similar kind of situation yet again, or well, if they start running and getting those eliminations like we saw even in Kalahari, they were taking fights left, back, and center, and they were winning them, getting those eliminations. That's the reason I've chosen IQOO Total Gaming. There's a lot that I witnessed yesterday, and that's the reason I have a lot to dish out today.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that happen. Well, not IQOO Total Gaming against Godlike, because you don't want that infighting. You don't want that early engagement that we're in. Like, IQOO Total Gaming might be losing out in some of those cases. I'm not talking about losing out against a team, but like the time that they have. If, say, 2 or 3 players would be eliminated, you will need to gather all those coins and then bring them back. You are not even sure if the places surrounding you, especially those vending machines, are occupied. So there's a lot of risk. So for what I'm asking to the teams right now, unless it's a skewed flight path, go for a safe spot. Just keep it safe the first half of that match, and then that's where Poetic goes chaotic towards the end.
I would say that's where R1 is going to come into the picture, Neptune. R1 is going to help them a lot in calling in the rotations, in even understanding where the opponents are heading forward towards. I've seen few teams, they love taking a very nice detour from the outside, from the blistering cold to the place where they can feel very safe, calling in the real estate, calling in the realtor as well to call in such good spots. That's one of the places that I would look forward towards, as the rotation game needs to be on point for today specifically. Group B, this is do or die for them, and IQOO Total Gaming is from Group B itself. Godlike, it's just their beginning. It's like a fresh chapter for them. They can easily understand and withstand all of those things which are going on today. But on the contrary, Group B, they need to perform. This is the do or die moment, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do or die moment, but in a bit, let's see if the teams will be going to do it or just die in it, because it seems like we are getting ready. Again, we're geared up, ready, excited. I'm up right now to see what's going to happen as we introduce our first game for today. This is Purgatory. And let's see if neither heaven or hell can save these teams who are unsuspecting in the battle.
Purgatory. Well, this is one of those maps which purges the opponents, which purges those teams who do not get their drop spot. But this time we can see, look at the flight path. It's so diagonal, it's cut so precise that you can even head towards Moat House as well. Oh my god, you hate it? I love it. Specifically, you talk about IQOO Total Gaming, they're heading all the way towards Crossroads itself.
Yeah, I mean, you have, most of the time you have one map that throws everyone off, and I was excited seeing Purgatory as the first map, because most of the time that's where like the flight path is skewed.
Rahira যদি ঠিকঠাক তো
This time. Now let's see.
রাহি যদি
This
পড়ালে
is
ঠিকঠাক
where
তো
we'll see a little bit of a battle right now, because he did mention it was perfect, the flight path cutting through. Only a few teams are meeting against each other, and GOW is one of those that's losing out in the fight. And you did mention about IQOO Total Gaming. They lost one of the players and unable to get a point out of it. So let's find out though if they'll be able to make that rotation, keep or revive their teammates, and then jump back in.
Oh, this is a very standstill situation. They would love to get that EP, get the inhalers on point, just to prepare themselves for a battle. And I can see GOW itching to take this battle, but do they know that the opponents is just directly rushing towards them? Look at Yogi. This sniper just wants to rush right in, get at least an elimination or two, and that's right. There's another fight being brewed up. GB against Nightmare, and Nightmare so far they are faltering down.
Yeah, I mean, they have lost one player. GoBopi has been revived, and Hitman has yet to be brought back. Now, we have full squad already, but information will be relayed where they will be dropping. Yakuza will need to be cautious, though. He's just in the front lines and might have Wada on a backstab. There goes the shot, but Wada is the one who goes down. And Reckoning, well, he didn't reckon to see an opponent right there, but there goes the finisher being done by Nightmare. 4 elimination already for the team, and it's just the first 2.5 minutes.
GOW, they're also facing the wrath of Godlike. This is interesting. Things are just being molded. And it's like a clay, Neptune. This clay can form into a very good situation or a bad situation, rather. Aztec, he's been spotted as well. Nightmare, this is constantly going around, getting those elimination points, and right now they're raked up to 4.
Oh, let's see. I mean, it's engagement after engagement. Team versus team going against Nightmare, and it is looking like a nightmare for this team. The only good story here is they are winning those gunfights. So let's see the remaining two. GoBopi moving in against GB Esports, going solo in a 1v2. I'm not sure if this is smart of him, but well, there you have it. Tailing tail and trying to move away. NG Prozo, 4-man squad, SKS from Manu brings Farhan down, but you can see Amino bringing him back instantaneously, and they're not out just yet. Though they lost one of the players, they do have 4 elimination already.
It's a very widespread. I'm actually worried about Nightmare right now. Nightmare Esports is spread way too thin. Hitman, he's also taking his battle of his own, and Aztec, as long as I know, this man takes no prisoners. He would love to get those elimination points right off the bat. And I know why you said what for. KAGENDRA being eliminated so quick? Yeah, that's the one thing which I did not imagine.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I didn't imagine that as well. I thought that when they are introduced, they are going to rock it. And unfortunately, they rocked that bottom spot for this group. Now, NG Pros still alive and kicking. 2 eliminations to their name. And earlier, we saw a couple more eliminations, if not knockdowns, coming from Godlike as they went for GOW. But, well, they are not out of this game just yet. AVIDA, though, like bringing in the numbers similar to Nightmare for elimination already now as NG Pros. Now, it's just they need to buy so much time. They don't have to be that aggressive. They're still early, and all they have to do is find out where Reckoning is. But I guess that's one way for you to find out.
IQOO Reckoning, they have been taking that height advantage to perfection now. 3 teams is where they're meddling that fight with and constantly just getting those elimination points. That's lovely to look at, but I would love to see them come down that hill and get at least a team elimination. But wait a second, Godlike, they have been eliminated. This is very quick elimination right off the bat. This is not even like the first circle being closed in. All right.
A lot of surprises happening right here. So we saw Godlike being eliminated by GOW, a little bit of payback coming from the Vietnamese team. And IQOO Total Gaming right now, well, will need to go for the pickup. They are going against the players of Red Hawks, and one managed to move away, flickering out from that fight with the launch pad. And, well, Red Hawks would be in trouble if he gets spotted. But one good story, though, is there's still one in the mix that hasn't been seen just yet. And it's down on the other side. Flicker VSK against Ayush. Pickup can be done if you have a healing gun, and I guess Shoto has it, but more focus on Flicker right here.
Yeah, Flicker could not go ahead and contain that moment onto Ayush. He did not get the elimination point. That's a really good sight for IQOO Total Gaming. But this is not it. They need to bounce back. This team, so far, we have seen the aggression game to be so on point for day 1. Day 2, it's all of a sudden a very standstill approach. But Gopu OP, he's going up a notch, jumping around, getting those shots on point with Bison nonetheless. And that's how you rock it. 8 eliminations. Nightmare, they're on an elimination spree. And this is how you begin the day with a banger.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Nightmare right now, Gopo OP was just feeling a little bit lost. No elimination out of the 6 that they have already as a team. So why not go against 2? And he managed to grab it. Now, they are the elimination leader in this lobby. And who's following them would be GOW. But on the other side, well, we've seen AG Pros went into battle, get away from it. Now might be seeing AVIDA XKDC right now, who is rocking the other parts of the map. Not even in the center, but let's see if they'll be able to get a glimpse of where NG Pros would be heading. Anusit a little bit too far behind. Good on the sniper though, but not in where they are positioned. There's a lot of compound that's covering it, and only Manu might be spotted right here, but everyone else is just heading for the bigger house.
Oh yes, we can see those Winchesters as well. Oh, there you go, the launch pad sending them right away on the top. And this is the place where Manu can actually give his 2 cents as well. Aztec, he's in spot, shots on him, HP low, but he gets to breathe. He knows this is the time for them to go ahead and form a cluster and play as a single unit. Anu said he's way too far away from the entire crew. It's either he can go ahead and revive the entire team, or he can just stand there and land those shots.
Aid onto the glue wall. Doesn't put up so much of damage right now. I want up close and personal. M590. He needs to wait. He gets an angle, goes for the shot, but doesn't really go for the knockdown. But at least they have information, and even an ice grenade damaging Aztec little by little gives out that information for the Moko, and there goes a valiant dash. Unfortunately, he was just waited on, and it is left to 2 players of AVIDA XKDC to make it work.
It's time for retreat. It is time to run away as Long Kong. He would love to go ahead and regroup with Anusit, but he's taking this entire situation with a pinch of salt. And there you see the golden ticket being punched in. Couple of players, they're back into the action, but not just yet. AVIDA XKDC, they were here. They wanted to take a fight against NG Pros, but NG Pros, they were 1 step ahead. It was a very nice confrontation, but in this confrontation, it's NG Pros getting 5 total elimination point. 2 all thanks to AVIDA XKDC.
এখন ঠিক আছে
Seems like AVIDA
একটু
XKDC
ঠিক আছে।
needs a little bit of
I don't
rest.
know,
And
yeah,
Lucid
yeah,
would be
yeah.
sitting it down for a moment as they go in for revive. And for the rest, well, they would need to move fast because one thing about Purgatory, not only is the skewed flight path,
কি
but the
খেলে ওরা?
water ending.
আচ্ছা।
And it seems like it would
Oh.
end in the water quite soon. Binoculars, though,
India
onto
people এত
Taiwan.
সুবিধা
And
না
Team
পাওয়ার
Falcons
সুন্দর
is
দেখতে
heading
তারা
on to
player
him. So it's a Thailand rivalry that
কেউ না
would
কেউ তো
be
ভালো
happening
খেলতেছে
from
ইন্ডিয়ার
that
থেকে, বুঝলি?
area just to the south of campsite. And let's see how
India
well
থেকে
Taiwan
যে
might be
কয়টা
able to
টিম
defend
সাতটা টিম
himself. For
আছে
the
দেখো
others like
ভাই দুই
IQOO,
থেকে তিনটা টিম ভালো
TG
খেলছে
or Total Gaming, they need to move fast because not only do
Top
they
5 এর মধ্যে ওরা
have
থাকতেছে।
they are on the hit list,
হ্যাঁ।
but they would be outside of blue. Pina, up close
ভাই,
and personal. There goes the
Liverpool
shot
BD player,
and
India more
180
than
on fire beats him to it. AVIDA lost a player once again.
Mechanically gifted, and so far they have been making a lot of noise, specifically Limitex. This man has gone the distance in taking those fights, but giving them a really good competition is GOW alongside Nightmare Esports. All three of them dishing
NMR এর বলে 10
constant
kill
damage,
দাও।
getting those
এই
elimination
team
points.
কালকে
And for sure, day one is
মোটামুটি
looking
মানে
really
এভারেজ
good
খেলছে বলা
for
যায়
the
আজকে এই
Group
টিমের
A folks.
10 কিল
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really good, but for me, it's a little bit
এই
slow.
টিমটা
But
এই
it's
টিমটা
acceptable.
ছিল
It's
ইন্ডিয়াতে মানে
acceptable.
ওয়ান
There's
অফ
only
আন্ডারডগ টিমের
there's
মধ্যেই বলা
also
যায়
6 teams that we'll be introducing here,
অফিসিয়াল
and they don't have
না
any
কত
idea
ছিল মনে হয়
yet on some of the teams. Who, even for those who haven't
ইন্ডিয়ার
played
আন্ডারডগ টিম আসে
in the
এরকম
VR
পারফরম্যান্স
play-in.
করতে
So,
কারণ আমি
well,
তো
we'll have to
ওই যে
find out
সিরিয়াল
right
ছয়টা
now.
পরে
We
থাকে নিচে
have Nightmare right now
Oh,
going
good.
against AVIDA XKDC. And there
Oh,
goes
this
the
is
cryo
big.
mine already. And let's see if they'll be able to go for the push or move away from the blue.
Oh no. AVIDA XKDC. Before this, it was against NG Pros. And NG Pros, so far, they were looking super good. Gopu OP, he's been running around, tucking his tail. He wants to stay safe, but he could not stay safe as a Lucid sits him down for the time being. Farhan, he's still lingering around. Long Kong right in front, but that electrotherapy, it's working out. It's giving
বাইরে
them the
ভাই
results
গেম
that they
সেন্স
needed.
এদের
Look at
দুইজনকে
the
খালি ইয়া ওই যে
eliminations being
দুইজন
raked
রাশ দিয়ে খালি ইয়া
Seven
করছে আর
in
লঞ্চ
total.
মেরে
And now
উপরে
they're
চলে গেছে
rushing forward for even that one player. Hitman,
After we
what
get
can
our
he
last
do in this
player.
given circumstances? All of these teammates, they
Shit.
rush forward, they
Oh,
pay
no.
for their right. And this cryo mine, unfortunately, is not going to
Best.
give them anything as Nightmare. They have been eliminated. Long Kong, the aggression is on point for AVIDA XKDC.
আইকিউ টিজিও তো
Yeah,
এলিমিনেট
Long Kong made him long
Gaming
gone.
eliminate.
And, well, we are now left
Indian
with
team to
6
Indian is the-
teams.
the
IQOO
third
Gaming
team,
eliminated
Indian
in this
team.
fight. Only 5
Third
points
faster team.
to make it through. Now, let's see. We have
Third
Team
team.
Falcons
Third
leading
team.
the fray. And this is what surprised me about Falcons. And I mentioned this earlier during the introduction. It seems like we had no
এই যে
idea where
নেপাল
they
নেপালি
were,
প্লেয়ার গুলা
and then 10 minutes or
Nepal
past
is the
10
মানে
minute mark
এদের ভাই
to where they rack up on
ভাই
all those
মাইন্ডসেট
points.
কি
From
মানে এখন
where we
মাইন্ডসেটই যে
only
আমাকে
witnessed
কোনো কিছু
one,
মাস্টার
but
করতে
they
হইব কোনো
are
বড়কে
leading the fray
এদের
right now
গেম
in
প্লে গুলো
terms
এমন
of
ভাই
points. So what more
আর
can
একটা
they
নেপালি
whip up?
প্লেয়ারের মেসেজ
That would
দিছিলাম
depend
আমার
on
লগেই খেলতো ওই যে
who
আমি
they will be
টপ সি
catching,
এই যে এই
but I
পোলা
don't think
গুলা লগে
AVIDA
খেলতো ওই
might
প্লেয়ারটার
be
মেসেজ
able to
দিছিলাম নেপালে
find
ওই প্লেয়ারটা
Team
আইলে ওই প্লেয়ারটা
Falcons.
নিয়ে খেলতাম
There goes GB Esports
মানে
just in front
কালকে
of
তো
it.
ডিআরএস ভালো খেলছে
Oh my
দুইটা
god,
তো বয়া
funny how
ছিল
all 6 teams are from Group A itself.
তোমার সাউন্ড
Not
কম
a
আছে মাইক কি
single
দূরে লিখে
person from Group
মাইক
B.
দূরে কথা বুঝা যায় না ঠিক মতো
Way to go! That's
হ্যাঁ
that's
এবার
what
ঠিক
makes
আছে
so
মানে আস্তে
volatile.
আইতেছিল
And
বুঝা যায়
GB right now, all eyes
Ah.
on the prize. Tawan, that
বুঝতে
1
দূরে
point,
ছিল
which is lurking in the shadows as the others they're slowly banding it
নেপালি
together.
টিম
Look
গুলার
at
কোনো
them.
সুযোগ নাই সুবিধা নাই
Tawan,
কত সুন্দর খেলে
hello there.
এদের মাইন্ডসেটই এমন
Hello
যে
there.
আমাকে
I
কোনো
mean,
কিছু
really
ভালো করতে হইব
aggressive,
মানে
well, not
গেমটারে আমার ইমপ্রুভ
aggressive
করতে হইব
in
তুমি
terms of
যেমন ধরো
elimination, but more of his
একটা কাজ করতেছো
positioning.
ওই কাজটা মনে করো মোটামুটি এক্সপেরিয়েন্স
He
দিছে ওইটারে
knows that
আরো
he is an
যে
angle that
ভালো
even
করতে
the
আরো
window from
ইউনিক
GB
করতে
Esports
এটা
would
এগুলা
not be
চিন্তা
able to
ভাবনা
spot them.
প্লেয়ারদের
But
মধ্যে না
GB
থাকলে ভাই
Esports
কখনো
already on the ground.
এমনি
The one is
সব
still
বলতে
in
যায়
there.
এরকম
There
হইব
goes a cryo mine instantaneously being shot up by
Mindset
Speedy,
তো ভালো
but that
করে দাও,
marks him
Falcon
as well. So it's up to Anusi
Topic
right
আছে।
now to give out the information. Launchpad is being set
11
up
kill
by
করে
Speedy, and there goes Speedy
Over
speeding
Buyao.
away, and
Interception!
Kasi serves
Ah,
well
yeah,
as
yeah.
Yakuza.
আবি
What a
দুজন
block!
লঞ্চ প্যাড মারছে
That's right. That's what happens
আরে
when you
এটা তো
play the
থাইল্যান্ডের
patience
underdog
game for
team.
so darn
দুইটা লঞ্চ
long.
প্যাড মারছে
Couple of plays just waiting
ইয়া
it out
কাউন্ট করে
there,
দুইটারে
sitting it
রাজ
out,
দিয়ে দিছে
being
ডাইরেক্ট
so nosy as a neighbor to get to know where the opponents are.
শেষ ভাই।
And Well,
Falcon, AVIDA, NG.
to whose guess is
IQOO
AVIDA
reckoning.
XKDC? They will be sending GB packing home for the first map.
Oh, well, Tito, who will be going home next? Seems like a battle between IQOO Reckoning and NG Pros is ensuing, and NG Pros are one winning it. There goes SuMon down. Limit has been spotted together with the rest of Team Falcon. So this is a third-party move from NG Pros, and there goes IQOO Reckoning out of the picture. Falcons would be the next target for NG Pros.
Oh my god, how did they manage to bring all the 4 players back to their full HP? This is big. Falcons playing a
Indiaর এই
big
একটা
brain
জিনিস
gameplay
ইন্ডিয়ার
here.
একটা
It's like
জিনিস
a
যে
three-man Mexico
প্লেয়ারদের সাথে না
standoff
মিললে
that we
ওই
see as
ভাই ব্রাদারদের
AVIDA
সাথে
XKDC,
কন্টিনিউ করে
they
আর
have a
এদের
high advantage.
যে
Very soon,
ভাই
might come
ব্রাদার
down to
মানে
the limit.
সম্পর্ক এই জিনিসটা
You
যে
did
গেমে
ask
কোনো
how.
ইয়া
If
ইফেক্ট
I'm not
ফেলবে
mistaken,
এরকম
there
খেলে
were
না
6 blue walls in
আমাদের
there,
ভালো করতে হইব
45 by Team
একটা
Falcon,
মাইন্ডসেট এরকম
plus a
আমাদের ভালো
monster
করতে
truck,
হইব যে
and the
দুইটা
monster
উল্টে
truck
যায়
didn't even touch the ground because the blue walls, but they are still feeling it.
Direct
Lost in blue walls,
Falcon,
lost in
Falcon দুই সাইড থেকে
HP, as
fight
well as a chance to beat that
একদম
booyah,
বাটাম
and
মিডিলে পড়ে
NG
গেছে
Pros are the ones
দু
that
সাইড
ended
থেকে
it.
প্রেসার
Oh, they
পড়তেছিল
did. Low ground advantage to perfection. Now NG Pros, they're heading forward towards this one final battle where one player is way too low and he's handling the backside of it. NG Pros, this is your moment, this is your chance. As AVIDA XKDC, they
ওই যে
themselves
স্নাইপারটা
were
দেখো
waiting for this for
আরে
so
সেরা
long.
সেরা খেলা
Couple of players onto Anusit, and the sniper has been taking control of the others, now forming a cluster. NG Pros, they would love to go ahead and keep breaking those glue walls as the Oscar dashes. It's working out. AVIDA XKDC could not answer so well as NG Pros. They embark. What a lovely journey in the first one itself, getting the booyah.
Getting the booyah, and this is the first one that they have in this BR main event. I'm really loving how that ended up. 2 Thailand teams being annihilated by NG Pro from India. And well, it started with this. I mean, AVIDA XKDC is being helped out by NG Pros, but it was NG Pros just putting so much of pressure against Falcons. And, well, the isolation that they did against AVIDA XKDC is what really made that work.
এই পোলা পাইন্ডি মাইর খাইতে খাইতে এনজি প্রচুর মাইর খাইতো এখন ভাই এমন খেলা হইছে গো
They had the
মাইর
low
খাইতে
ground.
খাইতে শিখতে শিখতে
I would
এখন
say
এটা জিনিস
disadvantage,
নোটিস
but
করা
just
শিখে
look
গেছে
at them. They turned it into
খেলা তো শিখতে
advantage.
না
And on the other end,
এর
I
লাগি
would
তো
say
কইলাম যে
XKDC, they did not
ইন্ডিয়াতে
play their cards right. They
একজনকে
had
যদি
the
মনে করো অন্য
advantage.
টিমে
They were
ট্রান্সফার
inside
করে
the
নিয়ে যায়
circle, but they
যদি
were
না
having
মিলে
a lot of
আবার ব্যাক
pressure
চলে আসে যে ভাই
onto
ব্রাদারের
themselves
লগে
as
যেমন এই যে
Anusit
শ্যাঙ্কি আর ইয়ে অ্যাসপেক্ট
took a bow in the beginning fight itself.
দুজনে ব্যাক
I mean, Anusit was just very close. He was in an off angle against NG Pros, and I guess NG Pros read that situation, knowing that there's one isolated from the rest of the group, that would be the sniper.
Now
So,
NG
well,
Pros,
what
they're
better
heading
way
forward
to
towards this one
slowly
final
bring the
battle.
team
The
down
one player
than
is way too
keep
low,
them
and he's
one at a
Kalada
time?
keep
handling
It
the
was just
backside
the
of
first
it.
spray
NG Pros,
of
this is
the
your
full
moment, this is your
squad
chance.
of
এখন
AVIDA
মনে করো যে
XKDC,
বাকি
they
স্নাইপার
are
চলে যায়
waiting for this
আরে
Let's take a peek on how everyone else did work in terms of numbers, but oh my goodness, 30 bomb from NG Pros.
30 bomber. AVIDA XKDC, Team Falcons, at least couple of our picks are right. Or are they? I believe they are, right? Yes, they are. But NG Pros, they came out of the hat. They were like the rabbit that usually what we don't see happening. And look at them, 30 points being raked up. That's a beautiful start for them. And this is the example that this team is setting. If you want to perform from day one. There's no day two. There are no other chances. Day one it is. This is how you do it.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm really looking forward to NG Pros right now. AVIDA XKDC as well as Team Falcons has grabbed that second and third place, but who follows them would be Nightmare Esports, and we've seen the tenacity of that team. Like 3 on the placement point, so that means they're not even halfway through. But in terms of elimination, they already brought that fire.
কবে যে আমাদের বাংলাদেশ থেকে এরকম পারফরম্যান্স দেখবো আমরা
To our MVP, it's Anubab right now, and he seems to be a sport other than a rusher for the
বললাম
team,
কবে যে আমাদের
Baron Cassie, that
কান্ট্রি থেকে
electro or
এরকম
basic
টিমের
therapy
পারফরম্যান্স
as
দেখবো
well as focus therapy that
মনে
really
হয় যে
helped
জেবি
the
ধরো আগামী
Crusher
এক বছরের মধ্যে
survive
জেবি
even
উঠতে পারে
longer. Joseph Tiva as well as Olivia for more healing and quick pickup, and that M590
কারণ ধরো তোমার
on
জেবি
his
আছে না
hands
ওই যে
seems to
ফ্রিক
be a
ও
little
হচ্ছে
bit
তোমার
more deadlier,
আন্ডারডগ
bringing
প্লেয়ার তুলছে যেগুলোর
2909 on
মনে
the
করো
damage
লয়ালিটি
and
আছে
full
আর
elimination.
অন্য প্লে অন্য টিম কখনো
I
টান
don't
নিয়ে নিয়ে যেতে
mind
পারবো না তো
looking
ওই
at the
প্লেয়ার গুলোর
eliminations
এক্সপিরিয়েন্স কম
that
কিন্তু
Aurora
ফায়ার
has
পাওয়ার আছে
raked
ওগুলারে
up. That's all
পয়সা
right.
পয়সা
But
পয়সা
the
বানাইতেছে
assists
লাইভে কইলো
that we can see
যে
is
সময় লাগবে পারফরম্যান্স হইব না
massive.
আজকে খারাপ যাবে
This
কালকে যাবো
man
পরশু
loves
দিনও
to
যাবো
take a fight. I do
আস্তে আস্তে
understand he could not
টাইম দেন
complete
কি
it,
হয় দেখি
but
মানে
those
ফ্রিক
fights help
বইব
the
আর কি এটা আর
overall
কি
team
বোঝা গেছে
in getting those eliminations as well.
দরকার
Manu, we saw
এই যে
him
বললাম
breaking
না
the back
এই যে
foot
আপনার
at
একটা
the
কথা
final
বলছিলাম
fight.
না
That
যে
was a very
প্র্যাকটিসের লাগে
smart
টাইম দিতে
tactic
এরা
coming
মনে
in,
করেন সারাদিন
being the
ট্যুর খেলে
sniper,
মনে করেন
providing the
7টার দিকে
support
ট্যুর খেলে জিপি টিমটা
alongside getting those eliminations
ফ্রিকে
was
একটার পরে
super
ওদের সাথে
important.
ক্লাস করে
Anubhav,
ক্লাস বহায়
Proxy,
ওদের যে
both of
কি
them
কি করছো কি
banding
কি করো না
together
আজকে কি
was
ভুল করছো এই জায়গায় এই ভুল
perfection
হইছে ওই ভুল
in the
হইছে
end.
এই টাইমটাই
Yeah,
যদি
definitely. I mean, they
টিমমেটরা না
are
দিতে চায় তাহলে
banding
কি আর
together, and they also
চল
have
হইব
both a
বিডিতে
Diva.
জীবন
So
হইব
if
না
any one of them
বিডিতে ভাই
falls
আমি
down, it's
এই যে
quick recovery coming from
কত
them.
ভালো ভালো
Exactly. I
টিম
mean,
বিল্ড
they
হইছে
not even
আমার এক ছোট ভাই
like
টিম
it's
ধরো
half a second for a
ভাই
pickup for the
17 তে
first
স্টার্ট
instance.
আইতাছে
Aztec,
প্যারালালে
though,
15 তে কি
one of
করব
the player that is really deadly with A124, the bomber of the team, beasting in hand,
ওই
like
সব
a little bit
প্লেয়ার
of
দিয়ে কখনো
strength
হইব না
in that throws gives him more
যতই
damage
ভালো
as
খেলো
well, and
যতই
even
মনে করো ব্লেড
more
রে
of
চারটা ব্লেড একলাই
following
মাইরা দাও
our
লাভ নাই ভাই
MVP. So I'm
কিচ্ছু
really
করতে পারবো
loving this
দিন শেষে
performance from the team itself. It seems like it was
সমস্যা
very
তো
slow from the
নেই
beginning, but we saw how it ended. They are not slowing down.
With a banger. Like it started all with the
প্লেয়ার
fields, right?
লাগবো
We
ভদ্র
were seeing them running around,
বুঝতে
trying
হইব
to at
যে
least get
হ্যাঁ
an
ভালো কিছু
elimination or
করার
two.
লেগা
They were being
প্র্যাকটিস
chased by
দরকার
even
এটা মাথায় থাকা লাগবে
Reckoning, and all of
আমার
a
থেকে
sudden,
উনি
those
বেশি
chasers
এক্সপেরিয়েন্স
were the ones to
ওনার কাছ
run
থেকে আমার
away
শিখা
from the
লাগবে
battle,
আরে
skedaddle
ভাই
from there.
এটা মনে
So
করো
that's how
T1
you choose
প্লেয়ার
your
তুমি ডাক
fights.
দিলা
And
ডাক
once
দিয়া
you're
যে
very
কইবা
confident
যে
enough
ভাই
in getting those eliminations
তোমার
and
এই জিনিসটা ভুল
beating
হইতেছে এই
making
জিনিসটা
your
করো
opponents
ভাই
weak
আপনি কি
down
আমার
their
থেকে
knees,
বেশি দিনের
this is
কতদিন
the
আপনার
way you
এক্সপিরিয়েন্স খেলার হ্যান
export
তেন হাবি
each
যাবি
form.
এই অবস্থা
Yeah, well, let's see though if they're going to hit the spot once
আমারে যে
again.
কেউ ভালো
Who
সাজেশন
else
দিতে পারে এই
will
জিনিসটা
be
মানুষ
hitting that
মানে
spot? But
বাঙালি
speaking of
নিতে পারে না
spot, we will have a
তাহলে তো
little bit of
সমস্যা বহুত
analysis
সমস্যা
in terms of where they
বাঙালি গেলে
will
জাতীয়
be
ব্যাপার।
heading in
This is
terms
the
of rotation from the drop spot because well, there you have it. I mean, spread out
আজকে কই
first
এখান থেকে তো
circle, a lot of
বাইরে
engagement
দুজন
has
লুট
happened. We've
করছে
witnessed that, but I want to see
লুট করে
where
আইছে
some
ইয়ার
teams
লগে
that we
ফাইটটা
didn't
লইছে
really
IQOO
saw
মিডিলে
move.
ফাইজা গেছিল
That's
মরবো
one
না তো
Team Falcon. So they drop into
GODLIKE দিয়েছে
like lumber mill, head to the campsite, and then slowly made their way
এই বুঝতেছি না ওদের তো
into
কোচ
the
আছে ভাই যে কোথায় কোন
Oh
ফাইটটা
my
হবে ওই জিনিসটা
God.
তো আগে
They
থেকে
made
আইডিয়া
their way
থাকা উচিত
outside and then they came back in, taking the fight against even
এটা নিয়ে ওদের
IQOO
তিনটা
Total Gaming.
ইন্টারন্যাশনাল
That's a
টুর্নামেন্ট
very nice
এটাতে
battle,
আসে
I
যদি
would say.
এরকম দেখতে হয় তাহলে তো
This
কিছু করার
circle
থাকে না।
analysis is the best thing.
হতাশ,
It's like
খুবই
the
হতাশ।
highlight, which just showcases how teams were actually
এখানে
preparing
ডিআরএস
themselves in
কোনোদিন
the overall
ইন্টারন্যাশনাল খেলে নাই খালি
situation.
লিডো
The
মারা
kind of
খেলছে যা
eliminations that they got,
গ্যাগম্যান
a
কইয়া কি
nightmare. For sure,
নেপাল
they
টিমটা
cooked in
জিবি
the first circle.
এরকম
They
খেলে
were
নাই
like the highest, but then moving forward in circle 2 and circle 3,
ইন্ডিয়ান টিমগুলো
they just
দুইটা
could not get
এই যে
the grip,
ইন্টারন্যাশনাল বলতে
solid
একটা
grip
লিডো মার খেলছে একটা
over the
বুইয়া
situation.
না
So
কি
that's
জানি
one of the
ওইখানে
places
খেলছে
I would say that
ভিয়েতনামে ওই দুইটা
overall the
থেকে শিক্ষা নিয়ে
survivability
এইখানে
is
আসে
the
অপরকে
key to
পারফরম্যান্স দিতেছে
winning
মাথা নষ্ট
a battle royale.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, survivability, that's one factor that we need to work on right now, and I'm really loving it at this point. For some teams, it seems like they didn't get that memo that you need to
Yeah,
survive longer. they ended up, especially KAGENDRA. I'm sorry
আরে
about that.
সৌদিতে মাসুদ তো
But
এদের
they
সাথে দেখা
were
করো
the
নাই
first
ওই
one to be
কাস্টারটা বলবে
eliminated from that game.
ও
So I
ওরা তো
want to
ইয়াতে
see
ছিল
them
মেন ইয়াতে ছিল
move up. I want to see
দেখা হয়নি।
GOW as well because it seems like there was so much pressure
ওই
coming
এই যে
from
মালয়েশিয়ান কাস্টার ভাই
হ্যাঁ,
Godlike
হ্যাঁ,
was it
চিনি।
in the first instance,
দেখছি আমরা ওই
and
ভাই,
মেন ইয়াতে
ভাই,
ছিল
they didn't get
উনি
that
ঢুকতে
much
দেয় নাই
in terms
সব।
of
বাংলাদেশ
points.
আমি
Another team
আমি
I
তোমাকে
wanna see
ভালোবাসি
would be IQOO Reckoning because we've seen them
ওরা
perform
মেন ইয়াতে ছিল
আরে
in
ভাই,
the past from the playing, and there's more chance right here in Bermuda.
ওই যে
There are
ব্রাজিলিয়ানটা
a
তো
lot of
হোস্ট ছিল
chances.
ওই যে
Moreover,
একটা
Bermuda
মহিলা
is a map where you
ব্রাজিলিয়ান
can showcase your defaults, right?
অল্লগে
Also
লাগাই
that
দিল তোমার
rely towards how they can
দেখা
go
হয়
ahead
না,
and assert domination inside the
দেখছি এমনি
circle. We have seen the eliminations game being
পরে একটা
on
ইন্টারভিউ
point,
দিয়া
but
দিতা
again, you need to have that
ব্রাজিলিয়ান আর
yin and
ভোটকা
yang to be in the perfect spot. That's how you can harness and manifest getting those top spots again and
মেইন
again.
হোস্টে তো
But
ছিল
the
কি
drop
দাড়িওয়ালা
locations,
একটা
the drop spots, right? That's one of the places where we can get the earlier blueprint
পুরো
of where
গেমিং
the
এরিয়াতে
teams are
ছিল
going
আর
to
কি
head
নট
towards
প্রিপেয়ার
in this specific map. And this is again another
অন্যান্য
place
ম্যানেজমেন্টের
where we
আর কি
can at
ভিতরে
least understand what's
দাড়ি
happening
কি বড়
in
বড়
the
দাড়ি কি
overall
বড় বড়
game.
মোচ
Yeah, let's see though. I mean, starting it off, my eyes brings me to peak, and two teams coming from India would be there. It's Godlike as
Punjabi,
well as
Punjabi, ওই যে
Nightmare.
পাগড়ি
So
পরে
only
যে ওগুলা।
one moves away. There's plenty of spaces in the southern part of this map.
ইন্ডিয়ান একটা জাতি আছে যে পাগড়ি পরে থাকে অল টাইম পাগড়ি।
Going against IQOO told gaming. So like
মানে
Team
ওরকম
Sakti
টাইপের
strip
আর কি,
though
মোট
is
বড়
a
বড়
little
করে
bit
করে
wide, and you can head into Catalystigua just in case needed. But Bullseye
এই যে
or
আইবো 3
Team
ম্যাচ করে
Falcons,
আইবো
it's either
মামা
Bullseye or
ওই যে দেখো
Shipyard.
আরএসকে লগে
That's one of their
একটা
favorites.
দুইটা
They
তিনটা
go in
টিমের
from
ড্রপ
the
প্যাস
north,
না তিনটাই
go
নাম
for a
বলা
long
দেখো
rotation towards the south,
দুটাতে
finding
একটা
where
ইন্ডিয়ান
next
একটা
phase of the
নেপালি।
circle will be, and then you will see them
কালকে
later
কি
on
হইতেছিল
for that.
জানো কালকে
That's right.
যে থাকতে না
And I know for a fact that
যাদের
there are
ড্রপ
going to be a
প্লেস না
lot of
তিনটা
switcheroos
টিমে
for
ওই
the
জায়গায়
teams
নামে
as
না
well.
তিনটা
Peak
টিমে
is
অন্য
one of the
জায়গায় যায়
places
নামে
that Michael
এর লগে অন্য
loves
ড্রপ
to
প্লেস
hit
হয়ে যায়
towards, as they just love the maze, they love the loot that
আরে
has been
কালকে
provided
সেই
there, and
বিনোদন মানে
early,
তিনটা টিমেই
elimination
নামে না ওই
games
জায়গায়
can
কি
be
আর
on
কোন
point
ড্রপ
from
প্লেস
there, and
কেউ লইতেই
Godlike,
যায়
if
না
they head towards Bhima Shakti Strip, it's going to be
কে
a
লইতে যাবে
cluster
ড্রপ প্লেস
through which GOW will not be able to face those easy
মানে
instances
কেউ
in the
ভাবেও না
pocket.
যে
Mill
আমি যেহেতু
looks
সত্যি
very
না ওই
populated
দিন তো
right
সইরা
now
যাইতেও পারে
alongside
এইটা
Sentosa.
আর মাথায়
Oh
আসে
my
না
goodness, this one
আজকে যদি
southern
এমন হয়
island
যে আরএসকে ভাবে ওরা মনে হয়
down
সইরা
right
যাবো
towards
আমরা
the
নামি
east is looking at a lot of
আর
action,
দুইজন
and you
ওই
can
চিন্তা
see
করে
those
তিনটা
zip
টিমে
lines as well.
নাইমা
It's going to help team
শেষ।
head towards the Mass Electric area or the Cape Town area, but those spots are going to be a
কালকে
hot
সেই
spot
মজা লাগতেছিল
for the
কাহিনী
others
তিনটা
who
তিনটা করে
reach
ড্রপ
and get
প্লেস
those
থাকতেছে
free
একটা
points.
টিমও নামে না ওই জায়গায়
Yeah, I mean,
সব আলাদা
Kagendra
আলাদা
failing
নামে
at map number 1. I think it's time
মানে
for
ওই
them
ড্রপ
to
ওই
move
ড্রপ
away
লোকেশনটাই ফাঁকা
from
একেবারে
their
এখানে কেউই
preferred
নামে
drop
না
spot.
তিনটা
So,
টিমের
yep,
ড্রপ
Mars
প্লেস
Electric might be where they will be dropping, but that would depend on
আর
where
ডেক্সট্রি
the
ম্যাচে
flight
যত
path
জিগা
would
কই
be. So there you have it. A little bit of
Team has
analysis
already
on
updated.
where the teams has registered that they will be
আরে
dropping.
ওই
But you
ফাইম
know
আর
how
হোপ
it
রে
is.
তুলতে
They can
চাইছিল
change it
পরে কোন
anytime.
না
They
আমার
can
তিনটা
decide
প্লেয়ার
not
আইনা
to
দিকে
go
আমি
there
একটু খেলাই
and
কানেকশন
just
আছে
find a better spot. That's the best way to do it. Find a better spot.
Exactly. And now,
This is-
for us to go ahead
আমি
and
কইছি না
showcase
কালকে রাতে
how
থাকবো
we know
ব্রো
about
ইয়া
the
আমরা ওয়াচ
teams,
পার্টি করবো
it doesn't matter whether they have the same kind of a drop location or not, but talking about the top three in our prediction, Neptune, these are my
Yeah.
top three. It's not going to change at all. It has been very significant with the kind of action that we have seen in the game number 1, the way NG Pros have performed. For sure, they
Yeah.
have won my heart, so I'm going to bet
আরে
for
কালকে
them
ফের
that
আরেকটা
they're
জিনিস
gonna reach
হইতেছিল
towards the
বুঝছো
top
ওই
three.
এই যে না
Falcons, of course, they already
প্রিডিকশনে
reached
যে
the
দেখো
horizon,
প্রিডিকশনে
and
খালি
from here on,
যে
it's either a podium
যখনই মনে
finish
করো আরএসকে
or
রে
it's
প্রেডিকশনে
straight up
রাখতেছে
annihilation.
তখনই আরএসকে 10
Yeah,
নম্বরে
well,
মরতেছে না
I really love how you put them in. For me,
কালকে এটা
it's
হইতাছিল
more of
নিজে
how
কইতাছিল
everyone
when I
performed
take
from their
আরএসকে
play-ins
in
up
my
until
prediction
today.
they eliminated
And,
in 9th
like, as you
position
can
in
see,
10th
there's
position
not even Group A
that's
included
not my
in
fault.
this mix yet. So, like, I go
Kola
with the
kalke
numbers,
আহাম্মক
I
হয়ে
go
গেছে এই
with
যে
what they
ওই
put
আরএসকে
in
রে
the
ভালোই গিয়া
battle.
সাপোর্ট দেয়
So, for now, it's GOW, Kagendra, and
Oh,
Nightmare.
yeah,
Hopefully,
correct.
they will pay dividends in here in terms of numbers.
আরএসকে রা
Why
হাইট
can't
তো আরো
they
বাড়ছে
do it
hurt at all.
এফএফডব্লিউ
Absolutely not. And here's the thing,
FFWS
right?
sorry,
Most
Free
of the
Fire
time
ওই যে
whenever we
ইয়াতে
talk
হলো,
about the
সৌদিতে
team,
ছিল।
we talk about
EWC
aggression.
হ্যাঁ ইডব্লিউসি তে ওই যে
Yeah.
স্টেজে স্টেজে আইসা
স্টেজ কাপ
রেড
আইছিল।
That's where I would again
দিল্লাইছি
back
না আমরা
upon
অনেক
them.
আমি তো
Previous
প্রত্যেকদিনই
one, yes, it was a very slow start, but this time around they already have this
আর
ignition
সৌদিতে হচ্ছে জনগণ
the
বেশি না
engine is
আমগো
so hot that now
জনগণ
it's
আরো অনেক
time
দূরে
for them
দূরে
to
থেকে
keep
আসে।
landing towards those areas where multiple teams
আরে
are
আবেগ
coming as a
আবেগ
cluster.
বাঙালির আবেগ
Call one player towards the outskirts of the entire map and the 3 players just dishing
আমার
it
দিতে
out,
যাইতে
getting
40
those
50 মিনিট
eliminations.
লাগে।
That's the kind of mentality I believe Total
কে
Gaming
রাস্তায়
is
জ্যাম
currently
থাকে নাকি
having it
আর
ahead.
ইয়া তো অনেক
But
বড় না
overall,
পারে।
I would love to see the others as well chime
আর
in,
এইসব যে
showcasing
ইভেন্টের
what
যত
they're
জিনিস
made
আছে
of.
সব সিটির বাইরে রাখে
Trust me, if we
Traffic light.
don't have the names out here in the prediction, that doesn't
এটা
mean
এটা
that
ফের
we're
ভালো
already
জিনিস
long gone from our
ইভেন্টের
hearts.
যত কিছু
You're
আছে
still
সব
there.
সিটির
You
বাইরে
guys are performing. You guys are getting those eliminations. We love to see
এর লাগা
that
তুমিও
action.
গাড়ি চালায় চালায়
Keep
নিজের ইভেন্ট
moving
গুলাতে
forward
যাও
again and again.
না আমি ট্যাক্সি
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not superstars that really what
আর
we
তোমার
put in
যেগুলা
the
পার্সোনাল
predictions
কাজ ওটা
really
তোমার
matters.
পার্সোনাল
It's
গাড়ি
up to
নিয়ে যাও না
you,
ওই কোম্পানি
players out there. I mean,
You
if
decide
you
your
want to
fate.
break our yeah, exactly. If you want to break our predictions, go ahead, do it. I
ওগুলো
mean,
তো
we
সিটির
will be
বাড়ি
happy.
লাস্ট টাইম
see
জিজ্ঞাসা
that.
করছে ওটা
And
তো
that's one
সিটিতে
reason
অনেক
as well.
দূরে
At
আছে
some point in terms of
না দোকান
predictions,
আছে
teams
না
that we're
কিছু আছে
cheering
না খানে
into,
খাওয়ার পানি
we
আছে
give a call out and
একদম।
shout out as
তাহলে
well in different
বাইচা
teams
কেমনে ছিল
because we want
দূর
them to
থেকে
bring
আসছে
that
30-40
fire, especially if there's a little bit of dip from
Look,
PR play-ins to the
Registan.
main event, or if
বহুত
we
বড়
want
জায়গা
him
এটাতে।
to be on par to
ওটা হচ্ছে
get
যে
into
তোমার
the
মনে
grand
করো যে
finals. But
ইয়া
if you
হেলিকপ্টার
choose
ল্যান্ড
a team, there will be a few that
কারণ
will
এইসব
be
বড় বড়
falling
ইভেন্টের
out,
জিনিস
so
তুমি ইয়াতে
hopefully
রাখতে
you're
পারো না,
not that
সমস্যা।
kind of team.
ট্রাফিকের জন্য সেটাতে
Now heading towards the second map.
এটা ঠিকই আছে
We all know the kind of
শুরুই আছে, বারমুডা।
surprise
দেখা যাক,
Bermuda usually
আমাদের
brings
হোম
to
টাউন
us.
বারমুডা
And this is one of the top spots for mayhem. All the teams all jotting down towards this one perfect area. The map is beautiful. It's the OG map.
IQOO
And
TV
in this
ঠিকই
OG
যাইতাছে।
map, we can look at the flight
আজকে
path
চেঞ্জ
as
করবো
well.
জানার
It's
কথা।
lovely. Heading from the northern end to the southern.
Factory.
Mars Electric being the last stop.
Yeah, let's see
Wait
though. I
there.
mean,
He
so
get team
far a little bit of flipped in terms of
Yeah,
drop
straight
spot
drop
for the side of
location,
NG Pros as well as Team Falcons. Team Falcons
Factory
didn't
এমন
have
একটা
to
drop
put
location ভাই,
bullseye or
কোনো
shot
team-ই যাবে
for
না।
yard
IQOO
as I
জায়গা
anticipated,
মতোই
but
গেছে।
they went into hangar. Now let's go in Godlike. First elimination against Yogi and Nancy right now. Mini Uzi in hand, needs to regroup. Finds a weapon. That is the first task, but find a place to stay would be the second. So let's see what are they prioritizing, because IQOO Reckoning is
AVIDA
already
এখানে
in
তো
peak.
থার্ড পার্টি দেওয়ার
Yeah,
কথা,
I
চলে
can
গেল
reckon
গডলাইক।
they would love to stay in this area for a longer time now. Even GODL, they have evacuated the entire spot. So bon voyage to them, as the entire place is completely open for the business of getting the loot. But wait a second,
Whoop.
this is a big whoopsie. Godlike heading all the way in
GOW.
front of GOW, God of Wolf and Wolf.
Hey, Marco
They
Polo
are
na
throwing
bhai.
it back. There you go. The elimination has come through. The second knock as well. Marco and Nancy, both of them have no answer to the situation. And Echo, he's just running away. He would
Aske to
love to
Esetul
plug
nai na?
those couple of players back into the picture.
It feels like Echo is
Is it
hearing
Mark?
sounds. Echo.
ভাই কালকে কি বাজে খেলছে, কালকে অগ যেটা তোমার ইয়া অর্গানাইজেশন ওনার আছে না, হয় নাকি লাস্টে পূজা কইরা স্টিম অফ কইরা দিয়ে
we
গেছে।
also have IQOO Reckoning above him, so that's where you need to be cautious. And
আরে
Yogi
ফিট ভাই, আরে
moves
পয়েন্ট করতে
out
পারে না
to
তো,
find a
একদম
vending
12
machine.
নাম্বার
Well,
তলা
have
নিতে
to go
ছিল।
in for
ওটা
those
কি পাহাড়ি
revive
team ছিল
first
না?
before they go full
পাহাড়ি
on, but
team ছিল
GOW
আরে
losing
পাহাড়িদের
Demon,
টিম,
not
পাহাড়িদের টিম
based
মানে
at all.
অর্গানাইজেশনে
They
টান
focus
দিয়ে
on
লয়া
IQOO
লাইছে,
Reckoning,
কারণ
and
ইন্টারন্যাশনাল
Waka
খেলতাছে।
would be the first one to be spotted out.
আর এসএটিএল তো মনে করো ইন্ডিয়ার মধ্যে টপ নচ একটা ওয়ার্ড।
Look at the way
ওরা তো প্লেয়ার
Rip,
টিম তো খুঁজে,
he
রোস্টার
has
তো
his
খুঁজে।
back exposed. Mafia, a couple of shots with the
দেখতেছি হেড হান্টার
ACAD.
দিয়ে হয় নাই, বাইর
and it's
করে
paying
দিছে দিয়ে
off.
এদেরকে লইছে।
RIP, you need to run away from
এরা কালকে
that. This
এরা
is
তো
not
জানে
a
না যে
good
সবচেয়ে
spot.
প্যাসিভ খেলা টিম।
Usually whenever I say the
তারপরে
rotation
অনেক
game
low ওরা।
being strong, GOW, they've been doing a very
আমি
significant
দেখছি
job
দুটো ম্যাচ দেখতেছিলাম।
up until
ওই
now.
ওমা
Look at them.
আয় আর
They're
যায়।
seeing,
by
they're
seed by
looking at some
ইয়া করে।
bodies here and there. Echo, he's again
কি
in
জানি
the
কয়
mix
ওটারে, হ্যাঁ,
of
watch
being
party করে
eliminated
দিছিল।
or annihilated in the
বলে
middle of
ইয়া
it.
করে চলে
Get
গেছে,
Max
বলে
7
পূজা
in
করে
hand,
দিছে।
and this is the best close range weapon that you can ever have in your pocket. But he just runs away, Echo, he's so quick.
Yeah, I mean, so quick
Yes, it will
indeed.
also
He
be
did
Theodore
pull
Alexander.
out that cryo mine, that plushy,
Not
but unfortunately,
anymore.
there's just
Jeo to
3
creator,
players
Yao
from
creator,
GOW, and there's no going away
That's
from
such a
that.
creator
Now, on
machine.
the other side, we're seeing Red Hawks annihilating Revenant XSPARK right now, and hopefully they can recover. But Red Hawks, I'm loving
Areske
this
bole ek
side
kill.
of them. Early part, go for the aggression.
Big
Hopefully,
kill.
they can go for survivability
আরে
as
মানতাছে
well.
এটা। আরএনটিক্স,
Oh,
রেভেনান্ট
alright.
এক্সপার্ট কে ফাইট গুলো দেখে না কি আর
XDC,
রেভেনান্ট ওরে তাওয়ার।
Testing the contenders of Peak. What a lovely revival coming through, but Water instantly goes down, taking a bow against AVIDA XKDC as they're the ones to go ahead and call in this place their sweet home.
Oh, that combination of Valiant Dash plus that Sane
আমি Falcon
coming
team
from
টারে দেখলাম
AVIDA,
ইয়াতে।
AVIDA
World Cup এ।
XKDC right
কোনো
now in
tension
Russia.
ই
I
নেই।
believe that was
ঠান্ডা মাথায়
Kawan,
খেললো,
and he
কোনো
was
কিছু
just
নাই।
untouchable
মানে কোনো আফসোস
in
নাই, কোনো
that
কিছু নাই, কোনো
engagement. He
টেনশন
just
নাই।
beat through the opponents and
চিল
also
ভাই, মনে
gunned
করে
him
যা।
down. Now let's see how well they can defend
ফ্যালকনের
Peak
ইয়া
at the
তো
moment.
ওনার
But
তো
for
বলে ওই যে সৌদি
IQOO,
সৌদি না।
they have spotted NG Pros, but
Falcon
তারপরে
যত
ওরা তো আবার
Falcon
ইয়া হইছে
piece of that
বেস্ট
action.
ক্লাব,
হ্যাঁ,
বেস্ট
হ্যাঁ।
ক্লাবের অ্যাওয়ার্ড
Way-
পাইছে
The
3WC তে।
question is,
ফ্যালকনের
অব আফসোসের কি
away
আছে।
that far, Anuvav,
ফ্যালকনের তো
he
সব
receives a
ইয়াতে
lot of
টিম আছে না।
damage, and it's up to Crossy
জন্য
right
পাইছে।
now to defend
সব
him.
David
But it's a
Daniel।
full squad that
আর
pulls in
যেটা ফ্রি
personal,
ফায়ারে
and
ইডব্লিউসি হইছিল
there's
ওটাতে তো
little to
ফ্যালকনই
no
জিতছিল।
chance of him surviving.
NG
এর
Pros,
লেগে
they
অব
already
মনে করো কোনো
anticipated
প্যারাই
this.
নাই।
Two
অব
players
অ্যাচিভমেন্ট এটা তো
pushing
আছে,
right on the
আস্তে
bridge
ধীরে
and the
খেলতে
others
আছে।
just
আর
sneaking
মনে
to
করো
the side,
ওগুলাতে
right
তো
under
প্রত্যেকটা
the entire
টিমের কোচ
team.
থাকে,
This is
তারপরে
a
তোমার
very
ওই যে
good maneuver,
সাইকোলজিস্ট
but
থাকে,
all this time,
চিকিৎসক
I thought
থাকে যে তোমার
IQOO
কি
Total
মাইন্ডসেট
Gaming
কেমন
had
কি এইভাবে থাকা
completely
এইভাবে
silent,
থাকতে হবে,
but they
কোচও বলে
themselves are making
যে
some
ঠান্ডা
really
মাথায়
good
থাকবা অলওয়েজ।
noise.
কারণ
They
তুমি
would
একটা
love
জিনিস
to
দেখো,
be in the
যখন
top
তুমি
spot,
ঠান্ডা
getting
মাথায়
those
থাকবা,
elimination points
ঠান্ডা মাথায় মনে করো
in their
সবকিছু
pocket,
ভাববা, তখন
but
কিন্তু
so
তোমার
far they
মাথায়
have
অনেক
just
কিছু আইব।
received just two. Kagendra
এই
on the
জিনিসটা
other end,
ওদেরকে
they have
প্রচুর
been so
ট্রেনিং দেয়।
isolated. What
ফিফার
happened
তো
to
তোমার
them,
ফিফা
Neptune?
যে
they want to go at least placement point. Like they don't want to go down early. We've seen that earlier. They went aggressive, a little bit too aggressive to my liking, and now they're slowing it down. But the only problem though is from Cape Town heading into next phase of the circle towards the north of Kotatua. It's open spaces. Yes, there's a little bit of dip that they can use as cover, but they don't want to be that careless. At least have a binocular on that first place. That first place first before they go in for the rush. And I guess there's a difficulty in pulling that off because they have a hit list on them.
There are so many teams that have dropped the clanker. They've given away the information, all thanks to the hit list. And with that said, so many teams being highlighted just showcases one thing, that is being so prone to enemies. And Godlike, the only best thing that they can do is keeping the wolves outside the door.
See if they can keep them out, close the gate, stop them from barking and biting. But GOW trying to bring down the Red Hawks, and Demon a little bit too aggressive though, not even a cover, going against, putting pressure against 4 players, if not 3 players of Red Hawks. Now, Demon though, great shot onto the side, but received a little bit of damage, but this might give him an open, in spite of the LMG in hand. That would lose out on the mag, as well as the revive would take so long. So hopefully he will not be an open, but Flicker says no! Stop it, Demon!
Oh my god, Flicker! We've seen him hit those shots! And for now, they have been isolated. Alright, Death, this is your time to run away, but look at him, Winchester and Tum Tum. That's the only sounds that we can listen to at those eliminations. It's coming forth. This is not at all a good situation, even though he's at the finally those shots land. For a second, I just got concerned here.
Well, the thing is, it's not coming from Red Hawks. It was coming from Godlike. So, I mean, the gods, or Godlike, I would say, are meeting up in this battle, denying each other up close elimination. But Demon still at it. I don't know how much ammo he has on him, but seems like he's not running out.
It's a handful, trust me, that's an LMG which keeps going on. It just keeps going. Finally, putting the entire situation to a standstill. We can see Echo yet again charging forward. Alright, grenade launcher in hand. This can be good for them. And finally, eliminating the entire team. Godlike can rest, reset, and call it a day. And not so soon though.
I mean, they call it a day on the other side. Team Falcons, but bringing down GB Esports. There's still 1 survivor, but it is Nightmare who will be seen, not the final Esports. And Amino just loses his acid in that area as he tries to hide out. And Team Falcons, 8-minute mark, not even the 10th, and they already have 11 points on them.
Ooh, wow. That's one way to go ahead and launch yourself. This is the best part about this specific map, Bermuda. It just gives you so much room to be in air for a longer time. And look at Keroro. He took a detour and he's like, you know what? Let me do this better. 1 launch pad from here, 1 launch pad from there, and that's how we make it. This is lovely rotation being called in.
They will be able to make that change. So it's too catapulted when it has been pulled in by Falcons. Oh no! Limit! A little bit too risky. Going against Icon Reckoning players, if not 3 players, or the gate was closed on him. But there goes Cryo Mine and the lightning ball on them, and Roneath with a god nade against Limit X7, stopping that sniper, and the rest of the teams will try to scramble.
Floor is lava. You better run, Falcons. As another team joins the force. Oh my god, this is a big cluster through which the lightning is also striking twice. This is the situation which Falcons were creating. All this time taking 1 launch pad to the other, trying to bamboozle Reckoning. And it did not work out. That's the worst part. Now they're going to rethink the entire strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a full reset right now, and it's just unfortunate. I mean, they tried their best to make it work, but Well, let's see though. Falcons right now, a little bit of highlight on fire, Damage King. Now, let's take a look. GB Sports. Earlier, they had only one player, and they are being wrecked by Team Falcons. But that final player did manage to revive the full squad, and they are in good position right here. Just hiding out. No pressure at all, and it is Cassie Sir that needs to be protected, to be honest, with that hit list. And let's see if they'll be able to get away from harm. For Godlike, though, 11 elimination. Echo with a God Dade against Manu, and NG Pros might be in trouble.
এই ম্যাচে তো ভালো খেলতেছে গডলাইক
All they have to do is close
Come
their
back to
eyes
life,
and
Jimmy.
wish for something better for themselves.
তামিলিয়ান
Godlike,
তামিল
a
পোলা
lot of
is the best
aggressiveness,
Tamil,
and that
Tamil
aggressiveness is paying so
অনার মনে
much.
এরি মেবি
And you were saying about dividends,
Godlike এর
they
সবচেয়ে
have
বড়
the
creator তো
entire
Jonathan।
IPO to their name.
Well,
আরে
let's
ভাই
see,
ওর
let's
ওয়াচিং
see.
থাকে বলে ভাই
Yep.
80 কে 90
আশিকের
কে
উপরে ওইদিন আমি দেখছি
On.
করছে কি
Oh,
কারদানি
no.
আইছে একটা
Kagendra already spotted.
PUBG-তে?
Not quite sure
Oh,
if the same
ওটা
goes
রিয়া
for
রিলাক
Kagendra
রিলাক
against
ইউজি
Godlike,
উড়াইছে ভাই
but Yogi,
রিলাক ইউজি কতটা
well, gives a signal for the fire, but needs to pull back just a
ভাই রে
little bit. They
ভাই।
are in that phase of
এত
the
দাম।
circle, pulls out that
Oh,
mini
you
UAV
see,
or
দাম অনেক
UAV
বেশি তো।
light
টাকাতে বেশি
to
দাম।
get information of where the
Lol,
players would be rotating. But for GB Esports,
ওরা কি শয়তানের
well,
লারেনি
they're not the ones dealing
এর চেয়ে বেশি
with
কামাই
IQOO
লাগছে
reckoning. It's
ভিডিও
Revenant
লাইক
XSPARK
দিয়ে
from above, raining fire against them.
ওটা তো কথা
Oh, that was
এই যে
so
আরজি
unlucky.
টিমটাতে
Sohan
রনিক
wanted to
বাদে
revive his fallen
তিনটা
comrade,
প্লেয়ারই
but it
তোমার
did not
আন্ডারডগ
work out till the last second. He did
এই
want
প্লেয়ারগুলোরে
to
যে
save them,
বানাইছে এত
but
সুন্দর
it's
করে
all right.
রনিতে
Better
Eh?
not cry for the sport.
Falcon
No,
eliminate.
wait a second. Say what?
হোয়াট
আরে
Falcons
একটাই
eliminated?
বাইচা ছিল তো একটাই বাইচা ছিল
Oh
এই লাগা
yeah, seems like it. And well,
12
seems
minutes
like
চলতে
that
আছে,
is
কই
the
revive দিবে।
problem as well.
সব
If
জায়গায়
everyone's getting close, we're already in third or
Sorry,
fourth,
brother, sorry.
going to the fourth phase of the circle. I think the rotation of Team Falcons was just caught by not only one but
Oh,
a
she
couple of
beat.
teams. But speaking of caught,
Lovely
here comes
ball.
IQOO reckoning.
Oরে দুইটা
What
ডাইনে
the?
দিচ্ছে।
With
ওরে
that
ভাই,
F590,
3v4
sweeping
বলে।
everyone in place and pick up is instantaneously. Now, it's just unfortunate that they did lose Ronit in the
Alright,
battle,
okay.
but here comes
What?
AVIDA XKDC knocking on their doors.
Knocking on their doors, that is all right, but what a way to go ahead and call this yet another battle.
পোলাটা সেই খেলে।
Reckoning. They need to run away, but to whom is the question as Long Kong? He throws in that barrel and claims the entire spoil as well. AVIDA XKDC, they were so opportunistic. And now the entire team has been eliminated, but what a way to take
দেখছো,
a
এই
bow
আমার
from
টিমটা
the
বাইচা
entire
আছে জেলে।
action. Kathulistiva, this is one of the spots where we can see so many teams harboring themselves, but they need to find that prime spot as soon as possible. As slowly but surely, these teams are closing in with that gap.
Let's see if they can close in the gap right now. Nightmare 5 elimination, and now a chance to gatekeep Godlike.
Godlike কে মনে
Nades
দিয়ে দিল।
after nades, and as well as a glue wall. Now let's see if they can throw
এর
to
মনে
get over the
ফাইটিং
kitchen
এর
sink.
সময় থার্ড পার্টি হইলে
There goes a cryo mine, and Godlike taken out. A combination of Gopo OP as well
গডলাইকের
as
সবচেয়ে
Farhan.
ভালো প্লেয়ার হচ্ছে
And
ওই যে
seems
মার্কো
like even
পোলাটার
Hitman
ফ্যান
doesn't
বেস
need to
ভাই
get
সেই ফ্যান
close.
বেস
Now
ইন্ডিয়াতে
Vino already into the lead. On the
মানে
other
ও
side,
একটা
Revenant
ক্লিয়ার
XSPARK
মনে করো
is
যে
dealing with
অলরাউন্ডার
AVIDA
ভাই
XKDC,
ফার্স্ট
but
রাশ
it's getting
নেডিং
tight right now with
কোনো
17
কিছুই ল্যাকিং
right here.
পাবে না
That's right. And sneakily,
Yeah,
IQOO
lots of
Total
yeah.
Gaming, they've already made their way towards this circle. This is smart from their end, but this action, it just
Ora.
continues to keep growing. Revenant XSPARK, they have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, but the revival, it's coming in instantly as KD God, he
Oh,
knows he
oh, no.
needs the manpower advantage in order to make the opponent
Oh,
sit.
shit.
What a new sit! He
Oh,
wanted
জোনে
to be
ঢুকে কিল্লা দিল,
sneaky,
জোনে ঢুকে
pushing
কিল্লা দিল।
towards the trunk, and the
পিছে enemy
moment he
ছিল।
called in quits,
কয়
that's
কষ্ট
where the
কষ্ট কি
entire
করবি
team
বাইরে
just
যাওয়ার
got
দরকার নাই
eliminated.
মাইজা
Even
দে
Shield
আমার
Doctor,
আমি
they were
ঢুকতে
facing
মাইজা
similar
দে
kind of a wrath.
কষ্ট করে
Revenant
কি আমি
XSPARK, they're doing a phenomenal job at
ইন্ডিয়ান টিম হয়ে
gatekeeping
গেছে
all
পাঁচটা
the wolves.
চারটা
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with a Winchester.
আবার
So
ইন্ডিয়া
And
দিয়া।
on the other side, IQ Total Gaming.
তিনটা
On
এনএমআর এর খালি
elimination
চারটা
against
আইকিউ টিজি
Kagendra.
চারটা
Now,
টিজির নাইলে
9
এমজির বুঝাই
elimination already. Next contender would be Revenant XSPARK, but Nightmare slowly closing in on them. 4 teams remain, and the 5 circle or 5th circle. We have IQ Total Gaming onto this lower ground,
Yo, so-
and we know how it is. The high ground doesn't work anymore. Most of the time, if you're on the higher ground, your head is exposed, and that's what the snipers are taking advantage of.
ইন্ডিয়ান লবি হয়ে গেছে
That's right. Nightmare. They have 7 total eliminations, eliminating one of the big teams.
Indian logo
Godlike having like 12 points on their name, so the confidence, it doesn't matter how well the opponents are going to rush towards them. It's about the firepower which Nightmare is holding at the supreme spot. They're at the smack center of the circle, circulating, rotating, getting those eliminations. But Revenant XSPARK in the midst of all of that, they have been eliminated as well. This is a back and forth trade coming forth, and NG Pros, they want to stay inside the circle, but they have very less man count. As NG Pros, they get eliminated. All thanks to IQOO Total Gaming. Now, the final 4 battle it out just to showcase who's the best out there. But Farhan, he could not get the grip of the overall situation. I mean, he's that was the backline, and Hitman is providing the support. But for how long? He needs to join in into this battle, but he cannot do anything. Standing way too far away from the entire team. Somehow, he does manage to get one knock. It's still his word against couple more players. What can IQOO Total Gaming do right here as Hitman? He has the confidence to go ahead and clutch it out even in a 1v2 situation. Delete M590 in hand. That's the best weapon that you can choose for a close range battle. And now healing it, reviving the players. This is big as all 3 rush down in the throat of Hitman and just win this Booyah straight up.
Yeah, Booyah straight up in their total annihilation coming from IQOO Total Gaming. And I'm really loving that final bit. I mean, last 4 all coming from India. They understand that the rotation. They understood where everyone is, and Total Gaming was just wrecking havoc all throughout. And it was just a matter of time on that final moment. It's a 1v3 situation, and it's the isolation that I am really seeing IQOO Total Gaming is doing quite well. Even in that aerial view that we had earlier, it's more of not heading in one direction. They're heading in a different direction, cutting off the retreat of some of the players from if I'm mistaken, that was Revenant XSPARK, and then everyone else was just falling down like flies.
Dude, that's one of the things which you highlighted very well, Neptune. That is the isolating fights. But what was Nightmare doing when
slowly
all 4 players were trying to go ahead and dish it out for the final battle, duking it out? You need to provide the support. Hitman from afar, he thought that he can be of a big significance, but unfortunately, right behind the glue wall, you get very less information on what's happening. And that's where IQOO Total Gaming, they just were spot on, had like 3 players just charging forward, and they just had the turbo on.
Well, they had the turbo on, and hopefully it doesn't shut down, because if he hit it up so much, it might die down later on. But unless they are prepared to go all out all throughout the day as well, then there's no problem, no question at all for IQOO Total Gaming. But as we look into the game standing, let's take a peek as to where everyone would be. IQOO TG 28.16 elimination. That is insane.
That is insane comparatively in this entire lobby. I mean, we have already seen a 30 bomber coming in the previous one. So 28 is decent. Firepower is already there for the likes of IQOO Total Gaming and the others. Nightmare Esports, we did see them shine a lot, but those elimination games did not pay them off that well. AVIDA XKC
Indian flag.
is one of the teams that I saw for a longer time. They took a really good battle against IQOO Reckoning, but unfortunately later on the circle did not pay them quite well. Team Falcons, I do not know what happened there, but this team was on and rampage. Just like
yeah, I mean, they were elimination rampage, but unfortunately didn't survive that long. So I don't know how it is. Probably they were not that safe on rotation. So let's see on how they will be able to recover later on. But it's not so much of a recovery. They've done so much already. They are only on their second game, so there's little no chance that they will be falling down, demotivated at all. And there you have it. Today's standings. Out of the 12 teams, it's NG Bros taking the lead, followed by IQOO Total Gaming Esports 41 and 37 just for today.
And AVIDA XKC, they're trading right behind with like a couple of points down. Team Falcons 31. I mean, for a team who has been so impactful for the entire year of 2025, 31 points, nah. That's one of the things that we do not expect. You can do a bit more better than that. Nightmare Esports 31 again sharing the same spot as Team Falcons, but all thanks to the eliminations that Team Falcons have already gained. That's a really good situation for them overall. Red Hawks, on the other end, I would like to raise some concerns here alongside Kagendra. Both of these teams are parting ways way too earlier, even though they're playing in for the long hours, or I would say
আরো 2 দিন খেলার টাইম যে পাইছিল FFWS এর এটাতে তো মনে হয় না
the eliminations, it looks so weak alongside the position advantage as well. But talking about this one specific player that is going to be elite, instantly looks at a player and deletes them.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, there's no recovery after you get hit by the lead cord right there as a weapon. I mean, that's an LMG that acts like a sniper. And that's deadly. If it wasn't so heavy, doesn't slow you down, I would be using that all throughout. Imagine like so much of damage, magazine size is huge as well, and you know how LMGs can put so much of pressure. But also, in combination with the A124, Alvaro, and being a bomber of the team, there's just no way out if this guy, the lead, is in front of you.
You know, Antonio was recently a big character in the entire meta, but all of a sudden, they did not find a lot of value with Antonio. But finally, looking at a player yet again bringing the old meta back into the picture, that is a one treat to watch. So overall, let's go ahead and look at the team stats as well. Good amount of contribution from every single one of them. And I can see Shoto, this guy was itching to take a fight again and again. Oscar, of course. Silver Spoon, yes please. And alongside Thiva, that just helps him to be much more well-rounded in providing support as well for the team. J Beams makes him more choice here now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, plus that Olivia being introduced for the side of Ayush, that gives more of a recovery for everyone, a healing touch, I would say. And I'm like the combination overall, actives and passives, I'm loving this. They've studied and worked this up to this moment. Now, let's see though in terms of numbers. So it's more of the lead as well as Mafia, who has brought in so much. And well, in terms of assist though, Ayush from far away, he gives so much of shot that he can assist with 8. But total points overall for IQOO Total Gaming, that was a great game overall.
Oh, well, I just love this bit of every single thing. You know, the analysis part of it, whenever it comes to the circle, downright we understand what just happened in the entire map, which we miss out, you know. Usually, whenever we see like so many teams fighting it out, dishing it out, getting that damage counter to be up, we usually miss some fights. And this is the place where we can go ahead, relive it all. And it's good for us, not good for the teammates or the players though.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of understanding how rotation is, and like I'm this is good information. I'm worried for the teams who are doing their best in like just finding a good spot to rotate. Now, I'm still taking a look at what happened in some teams who surprises in being taken out early, and I guess they were just gatekeep overall. But for those who are the final 4, they are coming in from different side of the map, and it's only NG Pros who ended up in the middle, waiting for the perfect opportunity. But unfortunate for them, there were 2 waiting, and the Booyah has been grabbed, all because they are all around the place, like couldn't be held into one area. And that's one great thing about a team just like IQOO Total Game.
You cannot contain them. You need like a wider circle in order to do that. Or like a very claustrophobic lift in order to squeeze them tight. But Falcons in third circle itself, they gave up. I mean, the kind of battles that we were seeing, I thought that it's going to be a longer time for them to survive overall whenever it comes to the survivability of it. The first game itself was a really good example as we speak about it. Reaching towards the top 3 and then having such good covers, but unfortunately the height being the disadvantage for them. That's the kind of Falcon that we have seen so far. But again, coming down to the grand total of it, Alpine being the third map, this is even more important for them to embark something very important. You know, usually we talk about Group B that needs to perform and get those points, but Group A, they themselves need to start performing, else, not gonna lie, it's going to be a problem moving forward in game number 2 as their cards are wide open, and so goes for even Group C.
I'm really looking forward to them to study everything that's happening here. Didn't mention about those who are not part of Group A and B, which is Group C, and they have like a good bird's eye view of every situation. All those they're the Falcons now. They are the ones soaring high right now, and they really need this because last day of the BR main before we get into grand finals, they will need all those points needed. And it starts off with information. You have that information where rotation, a team, say a strong team, off guard, then you might be able to take them down, no contention towards the end, and then you can make it for that.
এটা তো ইয়া FFMAI এর মত মনে হয় আরো 2 দিন পাইবো না মনে হয়
না রে না আজকেই শেষ শুধু 2 দিন একদিন তো খেলতে না কালকে আজকেই লাস্ট
leading or moving forward in the upcoming maps, things are gonna get even more chaotic.
কালকে না হইছে 51 না কত জানি
chaos, it's extremely tough.
আজকে 90 পয়েন্ট লাগবে দুই ম্যাচ অলরেডি খারাপ গেছে
this entire map reeks of a lot of shenanigans.
দেখেন সুমন ভাই তিনটা করে দেখেন এটাও লাভ না
that's not how they do. They're gonna of course head towards the SPARK center and run rampant this time around. That's the confidence that they're lacking, Neptune. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I do agree that some of the teams will be like just bluffing us on drop spot right now and then changing it later on. But for now, I love that we have I would say the initial drop spot or the idea of them dropping in here, hot trial, snowfall, militia, as well as river mount. But it's more of how they rotate. I'm looking into it right now because early engagement, it seems like it doesn't eliminate the team quite easily. Especially in Alpine, where you choose a hot spot, and then you have a vending machine close to it. And that's one reason as well, like teams because there is a vending machine that can bring back the teammates and then continue the battle. It's more of a rotation that they need to work on from those drops.
Oh yeah.
It's
just a very nice narrative onto how the teams are going to start rotating eventually. Vantage point is completely empty. I don't know why this one island is always empty. It's a lovely spot. If I would get the opportunity, I would always land there. Yes, that's
I mean, this is battlefield. It's not vacation. Vantage, yes. If you're going for a vacation, go ahead. Drop there. Like, stay in there for the longest time. It's also an edge, though. So you won't be, like, it's only a few minutes that you can stay in there and just cherish the scenery. But, you know, it's something that they can use. Probably if they need to chill. A chill pill, I would say, with all the chaos we've seen the first 2 games. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead and drop the Vantage. Take that chill time and then go in as a villain step in the front.
I'm talking about the top 3 predictions. What about you guys? Have you already mentioned it in the chat section? It's all up to you. It's up how well these teams are performing. Neptune, I would say I didn't anticipate that IQOO gaming is going to be so rampant in the previous one, but they did manage to do all of that. So I think this is another map where they can showcase their A gameplay. In the previous tournament, they've been super good, but not against the opposition, specifically the teams from Southeast Asia and all of these areas. So that's one of the places where I would be a bit more concerned. Explosive, similar thing goes for even Falcons. Falcons, because Falcons have
ফিজিক্সে ইয়া আরে কি ফিজিক্স বলে ইয়ার সময় ফিনান্সের সময় আমি আরো উল্টা কয়টা দুইটা করে লুজ
change
লইছি
things, and
আর আপনি কি
earlier
জানেন
just saw them
বেলজিয়াম
change
এত
things.
সময়
Expected
আছে
to be a champions, and
এক পেজে
Lose
কয় লাইন
হইলেই তো
করে
হয় না,
লাগছে?
a
lose
little early. So yeah.
ওই যে
But no,
লুজের
just
প্রথম
aside,
পাতায় লেখে আর লাস্টে
I
লাস্টে
want to
লাস্টে
see
লেখে এক
really
লাইন
like teams that are wanting to catch up. And IQOO Gaming seen that like getting that booyah and then flipping the script. In terms of Alpine's performance from yesterday, they only got 3
Colombia.
elimination and 3 in the placement, total 6.
4500
And because
টাকা
of
দিছি
their
বুঝছেন নি আমি
hungry,
কেমন
and hopefully the booyah curse doesn't hit them. Right here.
4500
They're
টাকা
hungry
ফাইন
for
দিতে বলে
points. They might be getting so much more.
ফাইন না
So the
আরে
hunger,
পরীক্ষার
I
ফিস
feel sometimes it's good, but sometimes the hunger
ওই
might
ফাইন
just
টাইন
take
সহ আর
you
কি যাই
down. But now
লাভ
moving
নাই
in towards the map of Alpine, things are
এমন
gonna get
স্যার
very
স্যারেরা চলে আমাকে ঘুরবে
scenery.
কারণ
We
দিতেই
always
বুঝেন না
enjoy this
এলে
map
দিয়ে
when it
দিছি
comes to the snowfall area.
না দিলেই
All
তো
the
ভাত
kind of
নিকো
showdowns that we usually see in
খেড়া
and around
এখন
those
অনেক
spots.
আছে
ম্যাচ
But this
স্টার্ট
is
হয়ে
one of
যাচ্ছে
the places
সুমন ভাই দেখো দেখো ওই যে
where most
তিনটা
of the
তিনটা
teams
দেখছিলাম না
they
মিলিশিয়া
just
আর ইয়াতে
activate
স্নোফলে দেখো কে
themselves.
কে নামে
Well, let's see who gets
Militia
activated
do
right
ওই
now.
দিনকে
It
দেখলাম
starts
একটাও
off
নামে
on
নাই
the flight path, and as you can see, from
Hoi hoi, Red
Snowfall
Hawks
to
বলে গেছে।
Vantage, Red Hawks already dropped in. Garrison will be taken by AVIDA, XKDC, and NG Pros, who would be gatekeeping or probably
Guess it,
moving up north in a bit. That's where
Militia.
chaos
কিন্তু
would
যে
ensue. But
যে টিম
down
ছিল ওই টিমগুলো
toward the
যায় নাই আর
south, not so much of hot drops, not so much of engagement that we're expecting. Other
জিবিতে
than
ক্লাস হয়ে গেছে গা প্রথমেই ক্লাস হয়ে গেছে গা কিরে ঘুরে কে
কি নেট
আর
আপনার
কি
কি ভাই
কে নেট
ও,
আমার নেটের সমস্যা না ব্রডকাস্টের সমস্যা বললো নাকি
সুমন ভাই
Stadium, where
আপনার
and
থেকে ভালো
REVENANT
নেট আমার
XSPARK as well as
5G
GB
চালাই আমরা।
eSports will be meeting up.
Thank you so much, Kazi
Dialogue
sir.
মারলে
Thank
হইলো
you
আটকাই
so
গেছে তো
much for
ভিডিও
picking
আটকাই
না
Vantage.
ওটা ওই
I
ব্রডকাস্টের
love to see that. And now coming towards a part where we're gonna see some
লোডিং তো
early
জীবনে হয় না
action.
আমার ইয়াতে
It's NG Pros against IQOO Total Gaming. And I hope that whatever the curse is of getting a booyah, it's
NMR এর
lifted
লগে fight
soon.
হইবো,
Else it's
আর
going to
Falcon
be
third party
regret
দিব।
time for this specific team.
Let's see now. So far, shots has
Kidding,
been
TG delete এই জায়গায়
made
কি
by
করে?
IQOO
Super
Total Gaming. And
Oh,
NG
no.
Bros
Skin
already
care camera
surrounding
active
him.
আছে নাকি
Yes,
আপনারও?
doesn't have the weapon for the
না,
close
তোমার
range,
active
only a mini
আমি তো
Uzi.
দেখতেছি আর,
Did
ঠিক আছে।
manage to take down
ও
Aztec,
না এখন ঠিক আছে
but unfortunately, it is NG Pros who grabbed the first point. But one good story about that is there's not so much of the remaining players in the area. So there's still time for them to go for a recovery.
Oh, hello there.
I mean, right now, being gunned down by Cropsy. And, well, it might be turned around. He might be the one turned in their corpse.
Oh my goodness, that was a very quick scope in
man,
and
I mean-
scope out. For a second, I got concerned that what's going on here? Gopu OP, he's trying to come back, give the support or the control, which can be eventually taken back in Nightmare. They've already lost a player. Farhan very close to this skirmish. And Aztec, he is going for the hot pursuit.
Oh, Aztec P90 in hand, sprays on the glue wall. Nate
back.
being cooked. Here
Oh,
comes Anubam
Kobe.
on the other side. But beat
Oh,
them,
like it,
and
don't come on.
Aztec form a long range. Now, Falcons would be in the picture. It is Nightmare who's pulling them in. So this might be a bait and
Oh,
switch that
Falcon
Nightmare can
Rodriguez.
pull and reeling them towards NG Pros.
Eh?
But
Oh, hello?
কিরে?
next
Like-
ADC.
এই কামটা কেডা
Says
এই
goodbye.
কামটা কেডা করছে
Oh, that's a very early bye-bye from their end.
কিরে?
And it's not at all a good one.
কাজটা
Because
ঠিক
they
হলো না
got no elimination points, and once you're at the 12th position, you do not get even positional advantage. Not a single point. This is a big loss for them.
এই এনজি বাইরে হয়ে গেছে থার্ড পার্টি
All right, let's see though. I mean, NG Pros right now pulls away from that engagement. I guess they got a whiff that two teams is in there, so they don't want to go for the chase. And that's a smart move right now, but they need also to protect
Kira
Manu
kono kotha.
because on the hit list that
Avida
is
bole
where they
12
are.
নম্বরে মনে
Now,
হয়
Godlike,
তিনটারও বাইরে
we are now seeing two elimination. And it is Pina
Pina?
being gunned down, pressured by
Wow.
Marco. Now, I'm really loving how survivability is being on point 14 Falcons.
Pina. I believe he is sipping a very nice tropical drink here. Yogi on the other end. He wanted to get the knock, and he's very well going to get that as well. Even though Godlike, they're on the brink of extinction, they're still rushing forward. Couple of players just banding together, charging forward, getting the shots on point, and what a way to call in a decoy. Guerrero, for a second I was so concerned for him, but this battle, it still goes on fire. He's way behind. And Guerrero, it's a 1v1 confrontation where Yogi, he's trying to land his shot, but his HP is way too low. Trying to dump it, and he wins against Guerrero. How? Pina! That's a very nice entry.
Damage on AWM, and then a finisher with a mini Uzi, but Pina says hello with that Bison. Now, as we look in to our sides, we have IQOO Gaming, especially after that Booyah. They are now second place and slowly racking it up. Full squad indeed, and they might be able to bring so much more in this fight. Now, Team Falcons, though, very low 13th place, but this is their first game day, and there's only a few instances wherein they didn't get that much point in placement. But in elimination, they are getting a lot.
And the way they're just checking all the corners, this is absolutely beautiful. Yogi, the place where he has spawned, is a boon for the team, as the ones who made him come back into the picture, they're long gone. So Falcons, that's one way to go ahead and call it the redemption and get those eliminations, 8 total on their name. And yeah, I can see the aggression coming back into the picture. And this is the map where you can go ahead and witness all of that. But eliminating Yogi is going to be Falcons' one solo task, as they have activated this specific thing just for him.
Well, speaking of activation, seems like that was thrown off on the side of Reckoning. They are eliminated right now, second to AVIDA XKDC. And IQOO being gunned down by Revenant XSPARK from the other side. But as quickly as that, Mafia will be brought back for elimination already for Revenant XSPARK. Still has managed spot on where that revive would be heading. And I guess it's a battle they want to go in just yet. First, the second phase of the circle is closing in. They just want to get positioned onto the next phase, and then they might do it once again.
I hope this time Revenant XSPARK, they don't end up looking at the sun, as they might go blind towards what's happening in the overall situation. KAGENDRA, this is it. There's a very nice push coming in, and look at the way it's a split of 1:3. Jojo, he loves to get that height advantage, but look at Blade. Oh my god, he's just surviving. How on earth is this even possible? Instant revival, but unfortunately, even he fades away. This is a big loss. And what did Red Hawks just do? That was a very premature execution.
I mean, Blade managed to cut through them, slice through them, to be exact. But unfortunate that M79 coming from Raz didn't save them at all. KAGENDRA, well, up for blood right now, especially with how they are working out. In their first game, they didn't put so much of a fight, if I'm not mistaken, and then being eliminated a little bit early in game number 1 with 0 points and then 8 points only in Bermuda. So this is where KAGENDRA really needs to rack up on the points. But Sahil, as we see Shota flies away, he falls down to his knees and not even touching the ground.
Oh, that's actually a very bad attempt in flying, but finally one person makes it. A beautiful flight without even having a crash ending. Kazi, sir, he is facing every single bullet of M590 on his face, as GB, they've been ambushed by NG Pros. Cropsy, what a lovely flash freeze nade being cooked right there, and look at him. He's just going ham. Doesn't matter what the situation looks like. He would love to break his ankle, reach forward, and Kazi, sir, in the middle of buying stuff, he's been caught with his pants down.
Oh, I mean, he was just trying to get away from all that carnage, but Cropsy and the rest of the teams of NG Pro says no. We will be gunning you down. And they are deserving the name right now because it seems like they are going non-stop. Engagement after engagement, rotation was on point, finding a lot of elimination, and I guess there's no stopping them. For Revenant XSPARK, they do have 6 elimination and also a couple of players in front of them coming from GOW. Wolven against the god of wolves. How ironic can it get?
Revenant XSPARK.
That's fun. But
Revenant
there's one
expert
lesson
ইয়েই
which
তো
is being learned.
ওই যে তোমার মনে হয়
Heading to vantage
যার
will
সাথে
not give you the
ছবি তুলছে না
advantage
না
in the
না
overall fight.
রেভেন্যান্ট এক্সপার্ট ইয়া
Triple kill.
Well, I guess that's a minus vantage. It doesn't add that much for you. Now, Wolven shot
Oh!
that's dead.
ওরে ভাই
Dead!
কি
No,
মানে
I don't know what Wolven is doing
kill.
right here, but he's the
Oh!
one who managed to bring down two of the players of GOW. And I guess GOW needs to give that title to Wolven because it seems like he is the god of gods of wolves.
Oh my god. Silent steps all across. This man was so lethal. And I just love it. Like, just imagine, spring of the moment, he's just trying to check different corners, and all of a sudden, Death is like, "Where's my sight? Hey, someone snatched it away!"
Well, let's see. He's going to snatch away this engagement from Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Goes for the battle. Dead right now, 1v1 against
Pina.
On Fire. Valiant dash.
Oh!
On Fire, Pina managed to go in for the elimination with the throw gun against Kiba. It's left to a couple of players for KAGENDRA.
Quadra kill.
There
কাগেন্দ্রা
goes
দিয়ে
dead.
দিল
Left for dead. Only
If I
one
get the
remains.
virus, I'll
Jojo, a bizarre adventure awaits him if he manages to survive. But the shot from Kim Roro, as well as a follow-up by Limit, ends him. And Team Falcons with 13 elimination.
They're in shambles. They are in absolute awe. Just what happened there? All this time, they were at the advantage. They were inside the house. They had the cover. Hard compound, okay? Not gonna lie there. And all of a sudden, Falcon standing right on top of them, soaring so high, getting the control, just snatches the entire place. Okay.
52 পয়েন্ট বাইরে ভাই
That's where I believe
He killed
JoJo's
Tahira.
bizarre adventure should have actually ended towards. But it just did not work out. And wait a second, there's another team who gets eliminated. IQOO Total Gaming? That's not
ওরা
at
ভাই
all a
বাকি
good
তিন ম্যাচে
sign for
পোষায়
them.
নিতে পারবো ওরা তো
Yeah,
হ্যাশট্যাগ
I mean,
সেকেন্ডে
we were expecting them to really rock this because they were, like, the last time we saw them leaderboard, they were very close to being that number one team. But
সুমন ভাই আজারে
I
মাইক খুলতে
believe
কথা
we still have NG Pros right here who might be able to bring
বুইয়া
that,
জানি কে
especially when
নেবে
we're talking about today's game. Because NG Pros has put so much of fight from the earlier games, especially after that Booyah in game number 1, third place in game number 2,
Discord দিয়ে
and
পালাইছে
now
মাইক আর কি
still
করবো
part of the top 6.
Now it's only their hopes that can save them.
বললাম না,
And
আমি
the game
একটাই
they
বললাম
have
আমি ইন্ডিয়া সাপোর্টার
A couple of things, they just need to be
আপনারা তো
on
ভুল
point.
শুনছেন
One of the places Alpine could
Bullshit,
change a lot of
bullshit.
stories
Yeah,
for
I'm
multiple
not
teams, and I
Bullshit.
think that the change of story has already begun. Revenant XSPARK, they've ignited themselves. They needed that zing, they needed that spark, and finally now they have it. Sahil,
Well.
not at all backing out from the fight at Cropsy. He's the ones to become the crops.
I think I jinxed NG Pros at that moment because I was glazing them a little bit. I was thinking
Way
that
too
they
much.
can way too much, man. I mean, they were too sweet. We're in Revenant XSPARK won a bite of NG Pros.
গোডেল বিয়াটা নিব
So unfortunate,
Gotta
but let's see now. 10 elimination already for NG.
Godel,
For
Godel.
Revenant XSPARK, they might be seeing a
Welcome,
glimpse
welcome,
of Godlike,
welcome.
and great shot by KD God with Winchester.
ওই
Pick
গড
up
লাগে নাম
has
দিছে
been
না
done,
দেখে
but
না
Wolven is still brought back to the ground. GOW needs to be
Oh,
taken
yes.
down, and KD God is the ones who's trying to make it work.
Revenge.
There's a
Serve.
lot around them. They need to be careful.
That's right. And this is the revenge that has
গোডেল
been
ওয়াইফ
served
খাই তাইলে
cold
ফালকনের
in a
নাম কমু
platter.
তাহলে ফালকন ওয়াইফ হয়ে যাবো
Owen was
ওরা
way too
ইন্ডিয়ান
confident
টিম
against
বুঝে
GOW, and he took down a couple of them.
গেছে
We did see that. And now the flashback, once it just ends
ফ্যালকন এখন
down,
গড লাইক রে ঢুইকা
towards
মাইরা
the
দিব
part where
শেষ
it becomes a reality.
আরে ফালকন
Wolven,
মারা যাবে
they have been forced. The entire team has been
So, কোন
forced
player,
inside
মন
the
player, পুরা
compound.
সময় আছে।
Where I can see Godlike right adjacent to them.
Oh,
and
this
right
is-
in front of them, it is GOW pouring down, and now the
Falcon
action
lagay honey.
begins. Soon we can see some eliminations, and through that, there's even Falcons who are going to devour GOW.
Oh, ঢুকে ও ঢুকে ও ঢুকে
Rivalry between
Sending-
Godlike as
Good,
well
good, good,
as GOW has been happening map after map, and here comes Team Falcons right now. Not quite sure if that's a smart move, and also who pulled out that
I-
lightning zone. Because if it's Team Falcons, they were the ones that will be safe. But if it's a different team, then that would bring Falcons down if they hit this so much. But nowhere to go. Decision has been made, and they just have to stick with this.
Right, man. They're watching all of this action from afar, and they're enjoying it. They're loving it. Aztec, ready to fall. That's not a good spot for you to be there. But let's see how far he can survive as well. The circle, it is slowly shrinking down, favoring Nightmare a lot compared to Godlike, GOW, or Falcons. So this is a bad sight for them as they need to call in the rotation, and in the midst of all of that, we can see some eliminations coming forth.
Let's see if those elimination will come forth.
One house, three teams.
3 levels though. And Team Falcons, it doesn't even have a 3rd floor, it's just a rooftop. And they're taking it. So, like, well, beggars. That's what we have. Beggars in terms of position, but not in terms of numbers. Ooh. Pina, though, needs a little bit of saving. Here comes Godlike, putting in that much of pressure against GOW. Now, the Blues closing in. They will need to move, but the ones taking advantage are the ones from across the map. And it's like Revenant XSPARK, the one getting so much points. Team Falcons, though, still alive.
They land in the last blow, but it's going to be Revenant XSPARK who keep tabs on them. Wait a second, we're still here, we're still alive, and we're gonna get you. But across the entire fields, we can see Nightmare calling in the monster truck alongside some really nice reinforcements. Revenant XSPARK, NG Pros, Nightmare, 3 teams dishing it out. Couple of them from Group B and one only team, which is from Group A, NG Pros.
Let's see. I mean, NG Pros, luck 2 of the players that's needed to go against head-to-head, toe-to-toe against Revenant XSPARK, as well as Nightmare. But Nightmare already on point, on position for the shift of the circle, and NG Pros are the ones who will be losing out. I mean, FGL's already on them, and the Blues going away from them in a bit. Even the ice grenades. There's no chance for NG Pros to survive. All they have to do is wait. And there you have it. NG Pros out. Revenant XSPARK going against Nightmare for the final battle.
Nightmare, they just knew who the threats were, and they eliminated them right at the down few seconds. Slowly just going in around the area. Hitman yet again cover for him. He's still playing it very safe. He needs to be a bit more aggressive than this. Revenant XSPARK on the other end, they would love to get the piece of the pie, which is a circle, and that's what they do, calling in such good rotation. Skylar ability being utilized, Rip Ride Rhythm, left, back, and center, and now is where the action unfolds. Sahil falls down, one already taken care of. On the other end, there's even Amin doing the same kind of a deed, but Hitman, Farhan, and Gopopi, all 3 of them, they're just banding together, and they would love to take this booyah on their name. As Revenant XSPARK, they were good with the eliminations game, but eventually they faded away, all thanks to the firepower that Nightmare brought upon till the very end.
Mr. Sandman would be happy as a Nightmare continues in this fight, bringing an amazing booyah in that final moment. We're going to take a peek on that final battle, that last shot, but again, similar to what we've seen earlier, that isolation gameplay, just scrambling, and it's not scrambling aimlessly. It's making sure that you will not be caught off guard. That exchange of Riptide Rhythm just forces Revenant XSPARK into one direction, and then that's when Nightmare just bring the wrath of putting them to sleep in that fight.
The entire weight was on KD God. Entirely. He was the one to wash the backs of his teammate, but he could not do that. I don't know whether he woke up on the wrong side of the bed or he just had a nightmare there. But for sure, he was the one who was extremely pivotal, but it's all right. Even reaching second is okay, but all thanks to the eliminations, I believe that this team has for sure overshadowed the team who has received the booyah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the first booyah in this main event from Nightmare. And not only that, that brings them up a little bit higher onto the leaderboard. And once again, this is Group B are part of Group B that really needs those numbers to work. And is this enough for them for the first half? Because it seems like with that point, 11 elimination, 23 points is big. But talking about huge, Revenant XSPARK, 16 eliminations. Second place doesn't matter. They have 25 mix and they're still moving up.
You know that one spot where I was being very concerned for Aztec as he landed very close to one of those structures where you can get the signal from? Yeah, unfortunately, he was taken down by Revenant XSPARK alongside the Team Falcons as well. So, Revenant XSPARK, they were keeping tabs on so many teams and not for once they took a break. 4 people, which means 4 views that they can look at. North, south, west, east, or it's up to them whether they want to take the nitty-gritties as well, like northeast or the southeast. So that's really good performance from Revenant XSPARK. But AVIDA XKDC, a big concern for them, a huge concern as they departed with 0 points in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. Like, we've seen that from KAGENDRA, we've seen that now from AVIDA XKDC. It seems like those performing from the play-ins are being nerfed right now. But let's see who has been buffed in that fight. Our MVP, Amin, or as I call him, Amino, because he is the building block of this pro team. This is 2 elimination, 19-22 on the damage, 7 assists, wearing that Nero, as well as a skill Alvaro, Nikita, and Tiva with that M590 and the Beast in his effect.
No wonder he was scoping for so long. Beastar, of course, is going to give you that raw power to throw your nades for a further distance. Alvaro, we usually see this character again and again being picked by a Grenadier, all thanks to the way he can go ahead and call it Blitz, right? One nade forming into a cluster, 3 pucks, and all 3 pucks dealing good amount of damage. So, love it. I love the tactical advantage that this player provided for the overall team. A Nightmare, this is like the second time that they were very close to getting the Booyah, but finally they punched it through.
Yeah, well, let's see though. I mean, in a bit, we're going to see the skills of the rest of the teams as well, because Nero has been like a determining factor, especially on final battle. But what has the rest has brought in? So Nero, Skylar, Oscar, dealing against the meta of strong glue walls, like 2 disruptors and the one that prevents them from putting it up. Then you bring in a Kazi, you're a little bit stronger, you're a little bit like heat up, and you can heal up quickly as you go into that battle. Loving this combination of active skill coming from Team of Nightmare.
And not only that, Doki being a pet, you can easily see who's the one player who's extremely weak right through the wall itself. So that's one of the best parts for Farhan to even go ahead and give the additional information. And in this case, being a rusher, just rushing forward. He knows that the opponent is weak when he's healing himself, so might as well get the eliminations.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that Reggie really helped as well. I really love how everyone is using that to their advantage. Final moment or even early parts. All those skills that we just talked about, all those skills that we just mentioned, even pet skills and the passives, it does work from the beginning, mid-game, late game. As long as you are in better position, in great position, take advantage of that. If you rush in all together, you will be able to make it. But if you're spread out, similar to when, like, I guess the early parts of a Nightmare's gameplay, wherein they were caught off guard, a few knockdowns against them, but they recover quite quick, and then they play with a meta.
Oh, well. And now the time for the golden hour that I love the most, the circle analysis. Let's see where Kazi Sir was setting foot and what happened after that vantage of, I would say, disadvantage.
Yeah. Disadvantage. Well, Kazi Sir, well, he was a little bit too quick in the movement. I guess not really staying for long advantage. If engagement happens, especially in the lower part or south part of that map, you will be pulled in for that backup. But Revenant XSPARK slowly taking like steps into next phase of the circle, and Nightmare right now on the other side. So again, we've seen that happen earlier wherein NG Pros was a target for both teams, and with NG Pros out of picture, the shift did happen, and then those engagement and whoever steps in first, and that was Nightmare, it was favoring them. They did get
SuMon by India,
but I mean, there's so much that Revenant XSPARK has done already.
I would say if Revenant XSPARK did not choose to head towards the circle first, and they would have taken the battle against Nightmare right there, right then, they would have had a much more winning rate compared to what they did eventually. They wanted to head towards the circle, not be pincered by Nightmare. Of course, Nightmare is bound to give you the entire space to keep moving around, and it's open fields, right? So the only cover that they have is those glue walls that they can constantly keep deploying, and that itself was being broken constantly, all thanks to the meta that Nightmare brought. Oscar dashes, they have Riptide Rhythm, the CEO of entertainment just doing his level best at entertaining every single one of them. Yeah, Nightmare, they had a really good fun time.
Riptide Rhythm, Riptide Rhythm, the only team being entertained at that point are the ones deploying the Riptide Rhythm. The ones receiving it, I guess they were crying a little bit. I'm really loving turn events right now. And what happened in those engagement, I mean, Group B is just rocking it. Getting as much booyahs as well as elimination as possible so that they can keep themselves afloat. And this is the last game, or a last chance for them. A last day for Group B. So they really need to bring that. And looking at how the scoreline is, especially in, like, overall, well, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So hopefully the second half would work for them. Otherwise, they might be saying bye-bye right here.
Oh, it's going to be with a very heavy heart, Neptune. Most of these teams are trying the level best, but it's just that they're not able to read what's happening. Group A is so volatile that it's just going to set you ablaze. It's either you go ahead and understand the tactics in the first 3 maps itself, else the last 3 are going to be so painful, specifically getting those points, getting those eliminations. My oh my, I do not know what's going to happen, but I believe it's both of us who's going to step away from here and watch it in the back lines as Lucifer alongside Crips. They're going to be taking from here onwards 3 maps. Most important for Group B, how well can they perform? This is going to be right after this short little break.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. My name is Crips and along with me is Lucifer. We are going to be your casters for the rest of the day. It has been a solid 3 games so far. Indian teams have been managing to get the booyahs all throughout, but the other regions are still somehow managing to keep up. They're not that far behind and the chase gets that much more intense.
See, when we jump back to what happened yesterday, Crips, there was up and downs for a lot of teams. It was a varied performance coming in from everybody when we saw the first 3 games. But the complete shift was when the 4th game started. Yes, PE Sports closed on it, but then was a big comeback coming in from DRS, a team who we were looking at ending up with 0 points, 2 points, 3 points in the first 3 games. That tells me that yes, Group B, with the advantage of starting yesterday, they're picking a lot of points. And yes, it is going to be even more better for us because it is Indian teams picking those points. But I think now Group A might start doing the deed, and I hope everybody's ready from Group B.
Yeah, and there's always this duality whether or not you're playing. If you're sitting on the sidelines and you're watching everyone else play, you get a chance to study them and, you know, prepare what's in store for you. But on the other hand, the people who are already playing, they've gotten used to the heat of the lobby. They've gotten used to the jitters and all the frustrations that happen. The day one jitters are already out of the picture. So they're somewhat more warmed up and it's always a clash for that. Today, however, it's the last chance for all the teams in Group B. It's going to be very, very difficult if they don't manage to make a significant amount of progress today itself. So far, we've been expecting that the cutoff will be at around 140 to 120 points. At least I think it's 120 points. I am on the lower end of average. A lot of other people think it will take a lot more. So, yeah, some of these teams need to get to that level. If not, there's a chance they might not make it tomorrow because it's out of their hands tomorrow.
It is big time, especially for Group B, and I think that is the reason majority of the Indian teams are the names that we are seeing from Group B who are picking up their booyahs, making sure they climb up that rung. If they don't do it today, tomorrow they just have to bank on Group C performing. That's all, or not performing. I'm collecting myself over there. But here's the thing. You cannot depend on it because we remember what happened in week 1 in the play-ins. Teams who thought it was enough, maybe towards the end of the games, when the last few ones, even on the last day that they were performing, missed out in their chances of qualification. Could happen here as well. Let's see if that is going to be the case because Group B picking up pace, but one team I'm still worried about. They still somewhere picked up pace was Red Hawks towards the day 1 performance yesterday, but today still not something of a great side. Let's jump into the preferred drop spots and figure out if they have a chance here as we are going to be jumping into Kalahari.
Yep, and as we see the preferred drop spots, some of them we know are gonna lie. However, I think there are some people who stick true to their words. That is gonna be godlike. They definitely will drop in Refinery. IQOO Reckoning will most likely deviate away from this place. AVIDA, they might just stay and give godlike a run for their money. Or they might hop onto Command Post and maybe third party if they see an opportunity over there. I also think Command Post will be contested. There's no way GOW is going to be alone over there. Revenant XSPARK will stick to Stone Ridge, and that's all that I can guarantee for now. I can't vouch for anyone else.
I agree with you. I think at Command Post, even though right now in the preferred drop spot, and even when we see the action live happening, we might see one team as they drop, but within the next minute, there's going to be a swarm of teams or members from various different teams jumping to that spot to figure out where we'll see the last few fights happening, because that's around the regions where we could expect a lot of breakouts happening. Even Mammoth, I'm surprised it's completely empty. We should be seeing teams going over there because that is even a very nice sweet spot. Same going for hiding as well as picking up an open air fight between those bones, and could help out for a lot of teams. And especially looking at the overall standings, I just like how I spoke about Red Hawks, like how DRS made a comeback. Another Nepal team that is going to be here in the matchup of Group A and B is going to be GB Esports. While they played on day 1, they grabbed back-to-back booyahs, but today they've not seen closer to it yet.
Exactly. And GB is probably going to end up fighting Total Gaming. You know for a fact that Total Gaming used to love Santa Katrina as their drop, but that was before the lineup change. I don't know if this lineup will still prefer going towards the Broken Ship, or they will stick it out towards the Mammoth and Maze side. There's a possibility that they will stick to either ends of the map, but it will most likely be on the extremities. Total Gaming don't like dropping in center, and that's why I think there's going to be a chance that they will run into GB Esports. If they win, they're going to be set for the game, and that's why I have picked Total Gaming to be one of my top contenders in my prediction for Kalahari.
While you've done that, even I have IQOO Total Gaming as one of my predictions, and I've gone for a full-on all-Indian team because of what's happening, and especially Revenant XSPARK were very close to a booyah. I thought they could also be the one right now contesting for it. Total Gaming already gotten it, and Reckoning, we remember what they did on the last day, and today is their opportunity. While they might be in Group A, they have another opportunity, but I think that high that they have, the momentum that they grabbed at the end of play-ins might start off here at game number 4. But I can see you're still rooting for Falcons. It's been kind of a tad bit of an upset when it all started with the high of how we had expectations for them, multitude of titles in their name, and it's not worked out. But on the other end, yes, the heavy guns you have it is going to be godlike, and yes, one of my predictions, if I had a chance to change, would have been godlike. But I'm still waiting to see the godlike of play-ins compared to the right now main event.
Yeah, and even I'm kind of hoping for that kind of a flame to come back and pick up the heat once again. We know that Godlike have insane amounts of bloodlust. We know that they can absolutely annihilate teams if at all they have the right situations brewing for them. They just need to find that right situation. And I think in Kalahari, if they can't do it, then there's no other map where they will be able to do it. So that's why I picked up Godlike for this map. Yes. I also think that Falcons have been getting a tad bit unlucky. They have plenty of firepower, but take a look at all the circle situations they've been in. They had no way to cleanly enter the circle, and they were definitely the target of many teams. So I don't think it's fair to put that much pressure on them, but they find themselves in these situations, and maybe they can avoid it in Kalahari, and if they can, then they might get the booyah. Who's gonna win it for sure? We can never really say.
A lot of Southeast Asian teams need to avoid that. Let's see if that's going to be the case. As we're going to be jumping into Kalahari Crips, this is game number 4. KAGENDRA and AVIDA as well have been getting eliminated super early. Barely enough points. Falcons as well. A lot of eyes on these Southeast Asian teams as we jump into Kalahari. Looking forward to drop clashes, and it seems like IQOO Total Gaming, what we thought could happen in Santa Catarina, is breaking out in confinement.
Oh yes, Total Gaming going for a complete switch. Neither Maze, neither Santa Catarina to go towards confinement, something completely out of the syllabus. Godlike though uncontested in Refinery. Unfortunately, Speedies will be put down, so that's Total Gaming getting a lead. Broken. He also knows he's gonna get dropped on. He pops the chrono but can't save himself in time. At least Kazi sir is on a completely different POI as an insurance policy, so that won't be the end of that team. However, back in confinement, we've got AVIDA versus GOW now, Lucifer.
Almost easy third party dite pare
GOW need points. Yesterday they did pick up pace, but GOW versus AVIDA, two big names who are picking up a lot of points, and it's going to be a demon who finds a knock with help of Dion. Will make sure they secure the elimination. They've lost Death, however, the man who keeps a watch out. But this is what we said. Command post, GOW might get down, but they're not going to be the only team. We already spoke about AVIDA. Revenant XSPARK are also here, and Godlike making their entry as well.
Godlike esports, they want a piece of the pie. That's what happens when you give them Refinery uncontested. They will be looted up and ready to fight as quickly as possible. AVIDA losing one of their members, but at least GOW haven't taken any casualties. But the moment I say that, they got 2 people down on their knees. Godlike esports are kicking the door down, and they are leaving no prisoners. Even Sahil is gone. Confinement has absolutely no prisoners. Only bodies dropping on the floor. Nancy doubling up. He is a demon incarnate. Confinement has been wiped clean.
You mentioned that this is where they have to. If they don't do it in Kalahari, it could become
Indian
problem
একটা team হইলে আবার ইন্ডিয়া সাপোর্ট করতে
it is going to be next at
ইন্ডিয়ার 4-5টা টিম যে
fight they picked up. They waited, they had the right entry point,
and the পার্শ্ববর্তী দেশ ইন্ডিয়া এখন সুমন ভাই যদি বাংলাদেশের বাদ দিয়ে ব্যাকআপ সাপোর্ট করে তাইলে করব ফালকন রে কারণ স্পোর্টস এর লগে সৌদি
right towards NG Pros, and NG Pros, it's also their debut day today from Group A, and they are doing well. I have not much complaints. Yes, not a booyah yet, but I'm pretty sure eventually down the line they have one written, and it could be here on Kalahari itself. It's a familiar playground for them.
Familiar playground, but not the most familiar enemies. It is quite a new lobby for them, and despite of that, they have been doing well. Red Hawks, however, have been struggling, so that's why they are now experimenting with a bit of a lineup change. Rahat is coming in, and he's relieving Nehat of his duties. Let's see if this change will help Red Hawks out, because they've only got 3 more games to go, and this is the last day for them. If they don't make it at least across the 100-point marker, I don't think they've got much chance going into the finals.
They need this, as you rightfully said. The chances of qualification
game
might look dire, but for Falcons, their start has looked dire. Total Gaming Shoto, this man has been so aggressive as an individual, and you can see he's still pushing forward. But finally, Pina puts his run to an end, will grab the elimination, and that will give a wayward call for IQOO Total Gaming to not make that fight prolonged. But it seems like Falcons, they decide if Shoto decides to do that, we as a team are going to rush upon Total Gaming.
Yeah, and they know exactly where Total Gaming would be. They know that the vending machine is where they'll find Total Gaming, and that's exactly what happens. Ayush does get one knock, but he's quickly traded out, and Falcons suffer overall no casualties. Total Gaming, they are down to just 2 players, and this is when the split drop actually helps them out. Not all of them are present in Council Hall, so they can at least be revived.
While they
do get their revival, they also put up a hit list, and that's going to be on Kazi, sir. GB Esports have not at all have been a good time so far, and for this as a hit list and their information being pinged at all times, and if Falcons want to pick it up, they will for sure go for it. But AVIDA, another team who also need to pick up points. AVIDA XKDC have spotted Revenant XSPARK. He doesn't want to let go of the trigger, whereas I think Revenant XSPARK are not wary about this.
I'm surprised he didn't take shots at them while they were crossing the river. But I think he doesn't want to be discovered now. Someone else starts shooting first, and then Long reveals his position, trying to catch them from behind. But Revenant XSPARK have already split up. 2 of them are across the skies. Sahil, will he be hunted down? Can he make landfall? Nope, only his corpse drops to the ground. And the same happens to Black. They land on their knees, dead straight away.
That's got hurt. Trips. Right in mid-air, Long Kong changing it to the Woodpecker and getting those eliminations, and the way he communicated it to his teammates, because he knew Revenant XSPARK will take the launch. And look at Pablo now with his sniper skills. It's up to Wolvin. I think they have gone for the revival. What will Wolvin do as the confirmation comes through? He doesn't even get a chance to revive his teammates, making a quick run. And Wolvin's cornered. Tavan is already in, and I think this could be a problem. Big one for Revenant XSPARK. A rush, a little bit of a damage, and a blue wall for now to buy time. But I think it's an end for him. And eventually, yes, he will be put to rest, and the AVIDA will be able to get 4 eliminations. Thankfully, Revenant XSPARK, it's not a full team wipe. They did manage a revive.
Yep, and they keep on surviving for now. Same with Godlike and Reckoning Esports, fighting with only 3 members each. Oh, nope, I correct myself. All of Reckoning Esports is over here, and this will be problematic for Godlike if they can't survive this. Marco on top, and so is EQOO. They can't provide any backup to anyone else on below, but Yogi tries to come in from the ground floor. He's getting shot down. EQOO jumps in late. He does get 1 knock with the Trogon, and they manage the squad wipe. That's what happens when you push all your chips to the center of the table. Reckoning Esports made that gamble, and they paid for it with their lives. Even Red Hawks suffer the similar fate. Kagendra blasts them open.
I don't know what's happening. We spoke about Red Hawks, and it seems like it is continuing, but the way Godlike could have had a mishap here. It's the entry of Nancy. He stepped on the mine, and the elimination came through, but Godlike held it off through the windows. But it's not yet done, because Falcons have made a jump in, and look at the glue wall blocking them, but Godlike powered through it, put him down, but a nice Riptide rhythm to block and remove all those blockages, and now they're jumping right in to put Godlike down, but Nancy behind enemy lines, but he'll be put to a knock. Confirmation as well. Limit X7 and Pina on the rooftop is ready to continue this. Yogi as well as Marco are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but luckily they've got 2 players far behind, all the way towards the height of Refinery. So Godlike Esports have insurance policies. Do they reconnect with their teammates? Yep, the rendezvous comes through, and they survive their flight. It doesn't crash land. Good enough for now.
Yeah. Happy for now, but looking at how Falcons are playing, Crips, they're already on the chase. They're waiting for an opportunity. All they're making sure is, hopefully, that Godlike are not on the edge, and while they're making their own lead, they do not get smacked down in midair. But on the other end, while we talk about these smack knocks, it's Nightmare versus IQOO Total Gaming. Thankfully, Nightmare quickly revived their teammate back up, but there is the UAV drone, which is giving away the information. They have to be wary about it. On the other end, we can see GB Esports also picking up players from Total Gaming, and that's a confirmation on Ayush, meaning GB Esports want points. They've picked up 2 right as of now, would want a lot more, but that is those isolated duels which we've generally seen coming in from IQOO Total Gaming, individual players and going in different directions, and while they come towards the circle 5 as a team, before that we see them as individuals picking players off one after another.
And GB Esports still sticking it outside the zone. They really want Total Gaming's head on a pike, and they get it. Total Gaming go out early this time. They were actually targeting Nightmare Esports just a couple of seconds ago, but Nightmare made their escape into the zone, leaving GB to clean up their mess. Right now, the same can be said for Falcons and Revenant XSPARK as they both try to battle on the edge of the zone. Still just the second zone. It will only tickle you a little bit, but obviously you can't hang on here for too long. Revenant XSPARK deploy their UAV light. They really want to make sure the glue walls are reinforced as they head into this battle because they can expect Falcons to come in through the tunnel underneath. But on fire from the sidelines gets both Wolwin and one more. KD got down on fire, gets the confirmation as well, and Revenant XSPARK are falling like flies. Luckily, they've got one of their players on the other end of this POI, so they're not completely out yet, but Falcons get their share of meat.
9 total eliminations. I think one of the predictions that you made, Crips, is moving in the right direction because the initial one, for both of us, has not worked out for now. Whereas Falcons, they're making sure this map as a whole works in their favor. They spotted Black, the man who revived his teammates, and on the chase, and I don't think he's going to out in the open, in trouble, and now using a Kenta, making sure his damage doesn't come through so easily, and yes, Black will be put down. Confirmation comes through, and a Quadra here for On Fire as he does light up that elimination in his name.
Yeah, Revenant XSPARK will have to spend all their coins on the revives. They're just gonna have to land down one by one, keep bringing their players back to life. Meanwhile, you've got Falcons farming the lobby. 10 eliminations so far. They're the only team on double digits now. Godlike is close behind them in terms of eliminations, but they aren't in a position to take any fights just yet. Nightmare.
তারপর এগুলা প্লেয়ারের অ্যাডভান্টেজ কি এগুলাতে তুমি যে কোনো গান ধরাই দাও ওই গান দিয়ে খেলতে পারবো গানে কোনোদিন কোনো সমস্যা হবে না
they would be good to go. Oh, there's Godlike. They start trying to gatekeep Revenant XSPARK now. My God, Revenant XSPARK are just catching flag from everyone.
That is a shot coming in from Hitman, and
look
at how Gopo and Farhan are charging in. Riptide Rhythm used to perfection, and Amin on top of it, instant elimination. They have to keep an eye out for it ongoing. They've found another knock. Glue wall for the time being, buying time, but the flash freeze is good enough. Draining their HP one after another, and look at Wolvin. He knows his team is in trouble, but before going out, he wants to quick grab something, and that doesn't work. And they do get eliminated, and it seems like both KAGENDRA and AVIDA are unable to catch a break. For now, at least KAGENDRA is surviving. They have total of 8 eliminations. Let's see if they prolong this further. And on the other end, unable to prolong it in terms of a continued fight for eliminations here is Revenant XSPARK.
Yeah, Revenant XSPARK had 3 of their players strong. They didn't even bother sending their forces over here. They just sent Wolvin as a lone assassin to steal some points away from these teams. He doesn't care whether he slays someone from Nightmare Esports or AVIDA. He just wants his pound of flesh.
NG Pros would want the same thing, KAGENDRA, and on the other end, GOW. But I really like Manu's position. Manu has now complete eagle vision in all directions as the zone is also closing in. On one end, he's able to spot Nightmare. But what is this from Revenant XSPARK? Such a difference in terms of their positioning. Wolverine complete, right? Towards the North KD God, and towards our left-hand side, it's Sahil and Black, but they are also in 2 different heights. I don't know what they're trying to play, but I think this is the best, as you mentioned, right? A couple of their players are just looking forward to elimination. The others are concentrating on reviving them. This is just a back and forth game, and it's good working for them. While say GB Esports wants to pick up a lot, they're making a dive for it.
Oh, and so on Nightmare Esports, they're diving on top of the GB Esports players, down their throats too. Yakuza and Kazi Sir have been blown apart by Amin's grenade launcher. Broken and Speedies desperate for backup, but there's no escape because KAGENDRA is on the other side. I hope Nightmare Esports are ready for this because they might have just bitten off a bit more than they could chew. Now Amin, realizing that he has committed way too deep into this fight, needs to climb back up. KAGENDRA Esports, they're now getting targeted by Wolvin again. This guy just doesn't want to stop fighting. Every single time he goes somewhere, there's a fight happening, he tries to pick up an elimination or 2, and then he ends up dying. And he's going to be more than happy with dying over there. He's going to be laying his life down for a noble cause.
But I'm pretty sure Revenant XSPARK have a strategy to bring him back as well. But what a play coming in from there. And
Black
on the other
Edition
end, you
Amanda
can see this is what I spoke about. Revenant XSPARK, KD God, we see him picking player from Nightmare. Just now, Nightmare had trouble, meaning the numbers are already dwindling. And if this continues, it's going to be a problem. But look at how Kagendra on the other end are maneuvering around this climb that they have of a hill where NG Pros have a really good positioning. And because of the way they've moved, NG Pros now cannot take direct shots. And look at how brilliantly they're using the terrain, the edges of these rocks while they're getting closer.
Yeah.
12 নম্বরে থেকে তো লাভ নাই ভাই অগ পয়েন্ট লাগবে 120 দুই ম্যাচে তো করতে পারবো না
This as their chance, but they still have a casualty. Dead, well, as you can see, is dead. Oh no, this GOW also coming behind. Now
ফাইনালে কোয়ালিফাই করার জন্য 120 পয়েন্ট লাগে
so they can't get shot from above. They can now turn this around and ruin GOW's lives.
They
আর আরএচকে রিডা হচ্ছে আজকে লাস্ট ডে কালকে খেলছিল
He gets hit by the nade and now the flash freeze. There's no way for survival and Raz as well. He was peppered with that freeze damage and eventually had to back off. On the other end, now as you said, the target has switched. It moves towards GOW, but will it continue? What continuing this is going to be Manu on the position he has as he completely wipes Revenant XSPARK from Kalahari, meaning NG Pros' position strong, behold, ready to rule. And look at the Riptide Rhythm making sure Death doesn't move up, doesn't get closer to the platform, and it is working in their favor. Another small toss, but it missed it. Mark, that's all right, but NG Pros
টুরটা খেলা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল টুরটা খেলা ইন্টারন্যাশনাল ভাই পুরো কাঁপাই যাচ্ছে
Falcons and Kagendra, you know, Kagendra actually lost a player. Falcons have I'm sorry, not Falcons. GOW have everybody alive. Falcons though, as expected, get targeted by NG Pros as well as the players who are right next to them, because NG Pros are indiscriminate. They will take shots on everybody. It doesn't matter whether it's Kagendra or Falcons, they're just going to shoot at everyone, even Godlike for that matter. Marco is in that room. I don't think Limit knows that they have a sneaky person riding their backs. Marco can actually just piggyback off of Falcons and get better placements for his team.
Might be the intention, but on the other end, Raz trying to survive as long as possible. Jojo on the other end completely silent as a snake, slithering between the grasses, making sure even though his teammate is found, he is not. But with the grapple, he's trying to make a quick launch. Raz gets eliminated. Confirmation comes through for GOW. And GOW have a newer target in front of them in the name of Falcons. But right above them, they're still worried about NG Pros as NG Pros pick up the last player on Kagendra, finally eliminating them. And the same happens for Marco as Godlike get completely eliminated.
Yeah, now NG Pros and Godlike, I'm sorry, not NG Pros and GOW, they both will combine their firepower at anyone else who's not directly around this platform. And for now, their target is going to be Falcons. They eliminate everybody else. Kagendra out of this picture. Even Nightmare Esports are out. Falcons, inch by inch, move forward with their glue walls, taking the fire from both GOW as well as NG Pros. They try to toss the glue wall melters above, but it's not going to help. NG Pros are not going to be deterred at all.
GOW লগে ফ্যালকনে ফাইটটা লাগলে বুয়া
They're helping NG Pros at this point as we are down to the last 3 and Falcons need to get closer. They have to shut the fight between NG Pros as well as GOW working together, but it's not working. Limit X7 is down, On Fire is down. It's all up to Keroro, but he's stuck in a container, a glue wall in front of him. He comes out to the open to see if he can help his teammate out. He will be put to rest, but look at GOW. And now NG Pros have to be worried, but they couldn't land the blow, couldn't find the knock, and Death, he's the only one on the platform. His teammate falls down, a revive being kicked in, and Death also falls down, making sure that the jump they made did not work. And Anubhav, why did he do that? Cropsy to follow suit, but still he finds he's gone down. Cropsy's being exchanged. What is happening in left and right? In the meantime, Keroro, he's jumped on the platform, Crips.
Keroro has the game served to him on a silver platter. GOW are hunting down Manu like a pack of VR, and Godlike Esports relinquish their position. They finish at 3rd place. Keroro will be thanking his lucky stars that this position was granted to him. He just needs to stave off the onslaught now, but honestly, even if he walks away with nothing, he's going to be more than happy. A single elimination, that's all he needs to pad up the stats of Falcon Esports, but he's giving them a good run for their money. Getting cornered, go nowhere to hide, and Demon will put him aside. GOW take the Puya despite all odds.
Despite all odds, it is GOW, the way they played, the way they held. Rep, as you could see, flexing. Because this was a really unlikely position to pull off a booyah from. They were under the platform. NG Pros had the better option, But NG Pros, as soon as they thought they could land the blow and the knock, Anubhav jumps in Cropsy to just help him out, and Anubhav eventually goes down. And before the other players could also make their jump and play together one by one, they dropped in front of the guns of GOW. And GOW, they made it to work in perfection. But before that, NG Pros, they held Falcons with fire, making sure they're not going to jump. The bolts annoying them, and then GOW makes a jump. But Dion, this is a master move he did towards Rip, and instantly you can see the chrono being used, making sure that the revival is going to be safe. And that happened because of which GOW got a lot more confidence, and down to the last man standing from Falcons, they did not have to be worried about it. They had the numbers and they closed on this booyah.
Man, GOW, I have to tip my hat to their survival ability. There were so many mistakes which other teams made that GOW did not, even though the odds were heavily stacked against them. In that final battle, you saw how Aztec accidentally blew himself up with the grenade launcher, and GOW managed to finish him off, even though they did not even get the knock on him, and Aztec was behind a glue wall. So GOW, even though they had 2 knocks, both those knocked players fall down, get revived instantly. But NG Pros, I'm sorry, not NG Pros, Godlike, when they basically blew themselves up, when Aztec blew himself up, they were not able to revive their fallen players, and that's why NG Pros suffered that man disadvantage. And it's not just that final fight, even the lead up to Refinery, where NG Pros were taking pot shots at everyone from above. KAGENDRA lost a player, GOW did not, even though GOW were at a more disadvantageous position. The way these guys survive and the way these guys res each other is just absolutely insane. Yes, sure, 13 eliminations signifies that they have a lot more firepower, but trust me when I say this, this team wins the booyah because they can res each other way more quickly than anyone else can.
But on top of it, Crips, we have to also talk about how competitive this lobby is. Look at how the points are spread all the way to the 7th spot. When we were looking at the lobby yesterday, Indian team at the top was plus 30 points at all games almost. And
Vietnam support kari.
12, 15, and then we ended up seeing single digits all the way. But till the 7th spot where REVENANT XSPARK is, we see 13, Godlike by 15 as well. Eliminations are at par for everybody. Double digits as well. KAGENDRA, Nightmare, Falcons, all of them. And that's how well these teams are playing. But for now, this was the game standings that we ended up seeing between these 12 teams from the group A and B that we have in action. But as we go forward, right, Crips, I'm looking forward to what could change, because Total Gaming, after the booyah as well that they've picked today, surprised to see that they're still at the 11th spot.
Yeah, Total Gaming do need to step it up. This was a rather bad game for them, so I think they can afford to take the loss. IQOO Reckoning as well as IQOO Total Gaming bow out early, but I'm sure they will not have too much of a trouble with this one, as long as they manage to get across the threshold. But for now, let's take a look at the overall standings, and you can see how close the competition is with the top 3 teams. Nightmare Esports, NG Pros and Team Falcons all just a single point away from each other.
This is why I say it's a very competitive fight today between Group A and B, and it is looking really good till the very end game. And even with Falcons last player surviving, even looked like if he could have pulled out that 1v3, landed the shot, it could have worked. But making sure it doesn't land was their MVP. It was Demon. In the earlier fights as well, it started with Demon at command post because Death was already down, and it worked out towards the end with 6 eliminations, 2,435 damage, 4 assists, the Oscar, making sure if somebody put up a goal with a dash, he breaks it and gets his teammates an advantage.
Blade entry does
is a demon with that Winchester. One of the only dashers in the team. He knows how to make sure that his opponents never have a fair fight. He just dashes past them, breaks their ankles, and that's how he ensures he wins his fights. You could even see how one of their teammates was using Kenta. But definitely the survivability that these guys are using in terms of J-Beebs and Olivia also is a massive input over there. How many people are focusing on survivability? You've got Olivia and Thiva on RIP. You've got Olivia on Demon as well. And I think Death and Dian are the only ones who don't have anything based on survival. The 2 teammates who are using Team Booster, these guys focus on revive so much. It's insane how quickly GOW can reset.
And I really like their picks as well as on the passives, as you said, picking them really early, really fast as well with the Thiva, right? On top of that, they have Olivia, making sure as soon as they get revived, they have that extra HP, and that keeps them going, Crips. They don't have to worry or wait to patch themselves up, get ready for the next fight, because they're all ready as soon as the revive's done, and they're moving ahead for
ভাই আমি সারা দিন পর যে সবাই আমি অন করছি ইয়াটার দিকে কোয়ার্টার দিকে জানি আমার যায় 100 এমবি আসিল ভাই আপনার নোটিফিকেশন আইতে আইতে আমার এমবি শেষ
was one of the games that they got a booyah on. It has not been a completely
আসলে আমি মাত্র আমি দেখছি 100 এমবি এর মধ্যে আছে পরে যাইতে আর কিছু চলে না নোটিফিকেশন আর পরে
they are at least what me and AJ were having a discussion when these big boys come into play.
Post হইতে আছে
they're stepping in as the big boys today, and as you can look at the team stats as well, with RIP at a total of 8 assists, tells us why we had their passives and active.
আরে ডিকের মতো সবাইরে বলেন না শেয়ার দিতে আপনার পেজটা তাহলে তো হয়
Yeah, and while you got players like Demon and Death who are dishing out damage, Demon up close, Death from afar, RIP and Dian can focus on survival, and they can focus on just pressuring the other team with their grenades.
সবকিছু দেওয়া হইবো তাও যদি এডি করে না তাহলে কি লাগে
composition over here, and the way these guys contribute to each other is just ridiculous. I also want us to take a look at how GOW position themselves, because when we take a look at the circle analysis, don't just focus on how many eliminations they're getting, but see the difficulty of rotation that they are having. You can see that when they drop, they don't have that much trouble. When they start coming towards refinery, they get targeted by NG Pros, and see how GW are splitting up across the maze. They also went towards foundation for a second, and
তারপরে আজারে দিব প্রেডিকশন প্রত্যেকটা টিম তখন মারা গেল আজারে চলে যাব ডিসি দিয়া
right behind them. But
দুই ম্যাচ আইসা যে প্রেডিকশন দিছে সব টিম মারা খায়
and they end up establishing dominance. So
Indian team
on every single team, their eliminations go up.
আরএসকের কথা কইছে প্রথমে আরএসকে ওয়াইপ ইন্ডিয়ান টিম কইছে ইন্ডিয়ান টিমও ওয়াইপ
between those two valleys, and
এখন
then come into
নিজের
the
দেশের একটা
circle.
টিম
That
আছে
is ridiculously difficult.
এটার তো প্রেডিকশন সবার আগে রাখতে হবে আর এটা খারাপ হোক আর ভালো
players like godlike esports players
না তুমি প্রেডিকশন দিয়ে এমনে ভাই লাগাই দিতেছো কুপা লাইভের মধ্যে ওয়াচ পার্টি
all four of the members on their feet.
That is how they get the booyah, played very smart, and the positioning, making sure we spoke about this.
তুমি আরএসকের পরে নাও ঠিক আছে আরএসকের দেশের টিম হিসাবে প্রেডিকশন দিলা পরে যে যখন যা তুমি ইন্ডিয়ান টিমরে প্রেডিকশন দিতেছো ইন্ডিয়ান টিমও তো ভাই খেলা দিতেছে
flash freezes coming through, melters, even riptide rhythms, which was causing them
আমি প্রেডিকশন দেই নাই
especially and GOW, as soon as that was opened up in their advantage, they were using it, and KAGENDRA had nowhere to run, and that's the reason towards the end we ended up seeing a two-man split coming in from KAGENDRA. Falcons, who could have had a better opportunity of a booyah because their positioning, their compound, but the reason you also mentioned this, where Marco was waiting, he was silently holding things off, and Falcons thought, hey, this is an option for us. Let NG Pros, let GOW,
আরে
let
আমি আজকে থেকে কথা বলতে পারবো বেরা নাই
and then put them down, and while they were treading out, while the
পরীক্ষা
circle was
পরীক্ষা
closing in, that's when they
কোনো
got
সমস্যা নাই
and that's where they were in two directions.
আমি তো রাত
আরে
throwing utils
ওই
against
তোমারে
the other
নাম দিছিল সুমন ভাই যে আমি মাইক খুলে আপনি আমার কথা শুনতে পারবেন না না আমার কথা শুনতে পারবেন আমি আপনার কথা শুনতে পারবো না
looking at this performance coming in from Falcons, they
আমি এমবি খুললে মাইক খুলে কথা বললে ইয়া কথা যায় না আমি দিনে যে কথা বলি কথা যায় না
done it. Booyah, a little closer maybe in the next
এমবি দিয়া
game,
খেললে মনে হয়
the numbers was not there, but this is where it all starts.
এমবি দিয়া খেলো ওয়াইফাই
From
কি লাগা
game
লাগাইছে
before, a lot of teams switch up and the switch
ওয়াইফাই তো আমার আছে যে এখন
Yeah,
গরিব
and
হয়ে
that's
গেছে
what
কি
can be
এমবি
seen
টেমবি নাই
because
রে
of
ওয়াইফাই
the
চালাই
number
যাচ্ছে
of eliminations are much closer over here in the overall
আমি
standings.
মিয়া এই যে সুমন ভাই
You can
যখন
see
বললো যে
this
তিন টিম
game
ইয়া
exactly,
করো তখনই
Ganavi.
নিজেটা
So
দিয়ে
many
ওয়াইফাই
teams
বিল দিয়ে
have
দিয়েছিলাম
like 10 plus eliminations, even though they got eliminated pretty early
ওইলেন
on.
একটা ভালো
So
কথা
starting to be more aggressive, and these last few games they are gonna be super.
আমার আগে তো ইয়া ছিল না
explosive.
যখন আমি রংপুর
Let's take a
থেকে
look at what we can
গ্রামের
expect
বাসায়
in
আসি
the
তখন
next
তো
game. Let's take
ওয়াইফাই
a look
ছিল
at
না
the drop spots. Obviously, you need to
তখন তো
take these
এমবি
drop
দিয়া ওই
spots
যে
with a pinch of salt as we
899
head into
প্যাকেজ
the next map.
লয়া দিছিলা
But
না
some of
নিজেই
them
তো
will
লয়া
actually
দিছিলা
stick to
একবার
their word.
Yeah, some will. I agree to that, Crips. Let's see if that's going to be the case with GB
Mara message
Esports,
দিয়া
because
বইরা
last time
লাইছিলা
we saw on the preferred drop spots, they were at Santa Caterina, and we thought the fight that could happen at Santa Caterina, it ended up happening in confinement.
আরে নাই তো
Right now,
150
teams
টাকা
like
লাইক
Mountopia and Lazaria very close by, two teams there.
কিন্তু
আমার
IQOO,
একাডিতে আসিল
বিকাশ
কিন্তু
বিকাশ
এর মধ্যে 18
বিকাশ
বছর
দিয়েও তো কিনা যায় না
split approach,
বিকাশ
and
দিয়েও
then
তো কিনা
Falcons
যায়
have
না
an
ক্রেডিট
opportunity
কার্ড
to
দেওয়া
take
লাগে
them, along with I think GB Esports doing the deed at the very end. And GB Esports, a little points that they pick up.
আরে একাডির মধ্যে আসিল এটা এই টর্নটা দেওয়া ছিল কিন্তু এডির মধ্যে তো আমার রিয়েল রেট দেওয়া দেই এখন কোনো কিছু হয় না
We have not
শালার কপাল 18 বছর হয় না কত
hoping
কিছু দেয় না
that they
ফেসবুকে
pick up pace. But I think again the tide or the spotlight shifts on the
তুমি
teams
যে তাহলে
in Group B, right? Because their
বাল্য
matches are
এখনো
coming to an end, and one of them still for me strikes as a big name is going to be
সমস্যা নাই
Bangladesh will be
কিন্তু
looking
মিয়া
forward to
সামনের
this
বছর
team
এসএসসি
to
দিমু
perform in a big
মাথা
manner. They
মাথা
are the
খারাপ
only
এসএসসি
representatives left in Free Fire Max Asia
আরে আগে তো এটা
Invitational,
পাস করো
and they're
তারপর
at
না
one
এ
side,
প্লাস
maybe safe and sound, but I don't know, Crips, if it's going to
আর
be
এটা
there.
পাস এটা প্যারা নাই স্যার এটা ফেল দিব কম
I
স্যার
think Mud side is going to be
2000
way more
5000 টাকা
occupied
নেন
this
পাস
time.
দিয়ে দেন
I don't think Red Hawks are going to be the only team over there. There's a pretty good chance that GOW and AVIDA esports might also rotate from that area if they want to go towards
Yeah.
ZA or if they want to go from the extremity of the
কত
civilian
200
edges.
টাকার লাগে একটা
So
পরীক্ষা
Red
দুইটা
Hawks are
পরীক্ষা
gonna run
বাড়াইছে
into quite a lot of
যেগুলোর কোনো
resistance.
ভ্যালুই নাই
I also think
10
that Total
10
Gaming
মিনিটের পরীক্ষা
might just take over Intellect
ছিল
Center
মুখিক
if
আর
they
একটা ছিল
don't
হুদা
expect
দুইটা
anyone else
প্রশ্নের
to go over
কিন্তু
there.
প্র্যাকটিক্যালের
Because,
কথা কইয়া
they have shown the tendency to do
200
this
400
in the
নিছে
past, but they don't do it all the time. So they want to keep their opponents on their feet as well.
বুঝছেন নি এমনের বাটপারি করে
As of
শালারা
now, at Intellect Center, we could see that none of the teams were selected as a preferred top spot. That tells us that, hey, that's obviously
a
not
lie.
gonna happen, one or the other. Yeah, that's a big lie that we've seen. But let's see if our predictions are going to be the truth. In the previous one, not much, but here I've gone back to changing from all Indian teams to now picking up a mix of Southeast Asia with Falcons, GOW, and Kagendra, and two of the names are similar to what we have picked, and you still keep IQOO Total Gaming going through. I think they should be there, but looking at what happened in the previous game and looking at how they're playing, they have a lot more individuality within their team rather than the team gameplay that I've seen for a long time.
Yep, there is quite a lot of individuality, but that's one of the key factors of what every team is now doing. You have teams like REVENANT, XSPARK also going for a similar approach where they just keep sending Wolvin as that split drop guy, and he's just there to ruin someone else's day. I do think that Total Gaming are gonna be very explosive in the last two games. Solara and Nextera are some of their strongest maps, and this is gonna come alive on those two maps. So that's why I picked Total Gaming. Although I do see that we both have gone for GOW and Kagendra. GOW and Kagendra, I think, are relatively safe picks. We don't really need to explain why we picked them. They obviously have a lot of firepower, so they're gonna end up picking up a lot of eliminations, even if they don't get the booyah itself.
Now, their firepower strikes through really well in the lobby as well, seen in terms of eliminations, in terms of maybe a booyah, which so far, at least for today, Kagendra have not picked. Yesterday, they had one in their name, and I think that's where this inclination comes through, Crips. That's where we are kind of figuring out, and especially that this is Group B. They want that booyah in their name. Let's see if that's the case, as we're going to be heading to Nextera. This is the last two, the penultimate for Group C, and it is going to be starting on Nextera.
Nextera, ladies and gentlemen, the penultimate game of the day. The second last game for he's just trying to stay alive by hiding between glue walls, hoping that his teammates from afar can give him some cover, but that will not happen. So Han gets teammates from afar can give him some cover, but that will not happen. So Han gets yet another for himself.
But Nightmare are right on trial. Reckoning, while they've picked up the initial frags, they're the ones with the eliminations. Is not going to be enough for them. They have to somehow try and push off Nightmare, and thankfully, in their advantage, Godlike are here. How do Godlike in all of these multitude team fights end up showing up? And now, with Godlike saying, hey to Reckoning, they are a little worried. And you could see already Ninja from top taking the shots, trying to send them back, while his teammates are backing safely into Grab Labs.
Reckoning Esports, they just do not want to let GB Esports go. If they leave even a single player of their team over here, they are going to get the finish on him. Ronit obviously will be taken back up, so Reckoning Esports not in much trouble yet, but Godlike are knocking on the doors. Reckoning have just enough time to reset themselves and prepare for the fight. Because at one point there was Nightmare Esports who were targeting them, now it's Godlike Esports. At least Nightmare make their exit. Reckoning don't have the same opportunity, they have to stand their ground and fight over here.
They have to. Reckoning trying their best, but I think it's the weaponry. P90 works better. They find the knock, instant elimination as well. Ninja trying his best. Nancy has gotten closer. The VSK is going to be good enough. And on the other end, Ronit, only the last one who made it out, and he was quick on his heels. He did not stand there for long, and you have to give due credits to his teammates as well, who stood back. If they all followed the same trail, I think it could have been an end for Reckoning Esports, a team who need points as well. Every team in the Group A who has started the day off need to start making sure they put a big mark, because tomorrow again Group C will come back, and we spoke about the cutoff, right? That could become a problem down the line.
I don't know since when did they rename Grav Labs into
আর
a
আজকে
farm,
তো
but
AVIDA সেই কারণ
these teams treated Grav Labs as a point farming place. Nightmare Esports, Godlike, even Reckoning for that matter, they all treated that place as a battleground just for a temporary amount of time, and then they walk away as if nothing had happened after farming some eliminations. GOW, they want to stop these reses from happening. Raz goes for a very risky revive. But hey, even Total Gaming are here, and you can see Godlike approaching from far away. This is going to snowball into a 4-team fight.
Godlike are just enjoying at this point. That's how I feel. But Death
Hey,
on the
even
other end, this is
GW are
what I
here.
said. From afar, he will always keep an eye, and that is the reason his shots, so many on all players of Godlike, as they were trying to get closer. This is what even Reckoning wanted to do, but it did not work out well. Now, it did work out with them doing the deed. I'm pretty sure Godlike would not want to tread the same path. Their players are ready. They've been revived back up. And Godlike, it's better to cut this fight, move in the other direction. But on the other end, it seems like GOW, the fight that's been started, a couple of bullets that's been shot, they want to continue it.
Godlike taking a page out of GOW's book, focusing on survivability more. They already are the elimination leaders. Nightmare Esports take down Death from behind. GOW need to fall back and get inside cover. They can't overextend themselves in pursuit of Godlike Esports.
W take down UAE, but Godlike, their troubles are not done. They thought maybe the Grav Labs is clear, they can back up to it, but there is Nightmare ready for them. Now Yogi around the walls. I don't think he has much in terms of space, and instantly takes the launch pad, makes a couple moves in the other direction, and Nightmare, what a cut to this fight that they've brought into.
32,000 টাকা প্রাইজ মানে আর ইন্ডিভিজুয়াল 22 টাকা।
Oh no! What just happened? That Riptide Rhythm gave away his position and instinct fired on him.
My God, I do feel
সুমন ভাই আপনি খেলবেন বলে ভাই এমনি 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 কথাটা কইছি কিন্তু আমি জানি ভাই
as well as GB's and they picked up their pound of flesh, but after clearing out all of Grav Labs, they went towards the other fight and they came back to Grav Labs thinking it would be safe.
কত
Because
কোয়ালিফাই
they had just
টপ 8
eliminated like
কোয়ালিফাই
members of two teams over there. They
top
expect Nightmare of all teams to be present. That
তাহলে তো ঠিক আছে আরেকটা প্লেয়ার লয়ে এলাম
appeared from them as if
তুমি
it
কে
was
ছিল
a
টাকা
dream.
আর আমাদের স্নাইপার প্লেয়ার সুমন ভাই
Unfortunate over there. Nightmare will be the dreamers, and also right now looking forward to eliminations as they're going to be having happy dreams.
র‍্যাঙ্কে ভাই আগুনের ক্যারেক্টারটা লন তো খালি কিলগুলো চুরি করার লাগা ফাইট হইব চালাই দিবেন কিল চলে যাবে
time. They have a minute on the clock. That's what they're trying to buy as of now, because you could see how Godlike wanted to make a chase.
আমি তো দেখছি ভাই আপনার প্ল্যান তো বুঝা গেছি আমরা ফাইট লমু মাইরা দিবেন ড্যামেজ আছে পুরোটা এক গুলি টপাস করে 25 ড্যামেজ কাট মেরে দিব
players rather than having any kinds of fight. And Red Hawks, what are they even getting a chance for? Somewhere it seems like they've already picked up 3 eliminations. Seems like that's a good offbeat for them for now, but how far can they keep that ongoing? Can they pick up a lot more points?
ভন্ডামি বাদ দেন
While we wait and watch, as on the other end, who we were already talking about, the Southeast Asian teams ready for the bang for the buck, and now that's going to be AVIDA.
আরে সাউন্ড ক্লিয়ার আসে না এখন আবার
AVIDA Esports don't want to let anyone use their spending machine and the recall tower near Deca Square. They're just going to place this under lock and key.
আরে ওটা দিয়ে সুন্দর খেলতেছেন খেলা তো সুন্দর
does manage to get the res onto Ninja, but will he pay for it with his own life? Will he lose
আরে
this
কালকে আবার লবিগুলো অনেক সুন্দর সুন্দর লবি করছে
him down. The glue wall doesn't keep him safe for more than a second.
রেজনের 58 নম্বরে একটা প্লেয়ার পড়ছিল
So yeah, Reckoning Esports, they trade one teammate for another.
AVIDA, they're the ones who are going to be happy because they have 7 eliminations, and Reckoning, they're the ones left
ওই
behind.
আধা ঘন্টা আমি 1.5 ঘন্টা খেলছি 2 দিন
But hey,
এই
at
অসুস্থ
least they
দেখা
will make it out of Deca Square alive for now. But Nightmare,
আমার সাউন্ড শুনে বুঝা পার না নাক মুখ যে বন্ধ হয়ে গেছে সর্দিতে
proactive approach of getting up into fights that they like and they're ready for. But what? SuMon,
আরে 1.5 ঘন্টা করে খেলা জায়গা
Gopo just ran in and he just spotted a player. The plushie
নাইলে তো ভাই
being used and Gopo
2.5
puts
ঘন্টা
it
টাইম
down.
নিয়ে
What
খেলা
a play coming here. That is an end for Sohan, who
আজকে
tried
লাইভে বড়
to
ট্যুর
make
গেল
sure that he was safe and sound in a spot that Nightmare did not see, and I think it was information revealed from where he was hiding.
আজকে টুর আছে তো 10 আছে 11 আছে আর 12 আছে
They're always eager
11
for
12টা খেলবো
information, eager for
10
fight
একটা খাওয়া
and
দাওয়া করে
elimination,
বইতে
and it's working in their favor. And same is what
কিন্তু
GOW
সবগুলো
wants to
মিলাইয়া
do. I
তিনটা
feel
টুর
like
মিলাইয়া
now, as
প্রায়
they're at the edges of the
এনসিসি
circle,
আছে
because this is where
ভালোই
it all starts.
I feel like Nightmare had something
তাহলে সুমন
spicy
বাইরে
for
কাও
breakfast
খেলবো
today.
কিনা
I feel like these guys have such heat inside them. It needs to be expelled out in form of aggression. GOW also
আমি বলে দিচ্ছি না
are somewhat of the same kind, you know, they cut from the same cloth.
তাহলে বাদ দেন
And now they're
ইয়া
targeting
করি ভাই
Kagendra.
লাইভটা শেষ হোক
Looking for a
আজকে
split
টিম
3-1,
নিয়ে একটা
and that's why
হাসপাতাল
they're rushing down
মিটিং
these
টিটিং
3
হয়ে
people,
যাবে
knowing that GOW will have the advantage in terms of numbers.
আজারে আজকে দুই চারটা থাবর মাইরা দিবেন
And I'm being careful about
আমার কলা টিম না আমাকে ভালো না
সুমন যে কে কথা
any
কইতেছে
possible
তখন
landmines on the other side of the staircase. Meanwhile, Kagendra are no longer
Ah,
obsessed.
জীবনের
They have popped out of the window.
এই মাসে কতখানি টিম ফিল করলাম
Global boost team and bust a bottle of
নিজের
Global
কেমন
with
জানি
that
ফিল
dash.
করলাম পুরো
And he
প্লেয়ার
gets back
লাগে
in cover.
পুরো
Letting Rip
প্লেয়ার
do the
লাগে
dirty work for now. But the Chrono keeps
লাইভটা শেষ হোক তারপর কইতেছি আমি কিছু পেলাম না
কেন কি করবেন কইলাম সমস্যা কি
না লাইভে না পরে
হুম
কি রে ভাই কি ব্রডকাস্ট এডি
them both safe. No damage traded, but Dead does take down RIP. RIP to Dead. My goodness, this game is poetic sometimes. Demon now hops out, hoping that he can finish off both Dead and Kiba, who are quite low on HP, but they make their way around the fence.
কে সুমন ভাই এত আটকায় কে
Yeah, because they did spot players making a jump for it. Jojo is now relaying information. When the player gets close and Jojo instantly
কি রে ভাই
আয় অন্যটা জানে অন্য
makes a run for it. He's only buying time. He's not initiating or prolonging this fight. But what a jump from him on the launch pad. Makes a quick jump towards the other end. And rejoins his teammates at Farmtopia and continues this run.
Yeah, and while Kagendra and IQOO Reckoning are busy fighting each other, GOW revive their teammates and are now back up at half strength. This should be enough for them, at least in the first two circles. Now they are far, far away from this. Try to focus on getting into the fifth circle with all their teammates alive. That is if
না ভাই প্রেডিকশনটা
Falcons
লাগায়
let
না
them.
তুমি
আরে না ফালকন বিয়াটা নিব গা সমস্যা নেই ফালকন ফ্যালকন ইভনের ডিস্টার্ব দেয় নেই
Yep.
কি
And
ভাই
Caster
সব দিতে
Falcons
পারে
do
ডিস্টার্ব
intercept them. They had to take fight past so many teams.
এটা লাগে 5 দিন নমুনা বুঝছেন নি লেরো
No, Red Hawks, they want a fight, but are they ready for it? It's going to be against Nightmare, and Nightmare, they've loved every fight that they've taken. They've picked up eliminations. It could continue and baffle them. Red Hawks ready for it. They try to get on. The plus is missed for now, and there is the opening. The triple's down.
Blade tries to freeze up the staircase so that he
ANR.
will discourage the players from
NMR.
coming up. That will buy Rahat and Blade a little bit more time. Like many sports must not get distracted by AVIDA landing over here. That is rather insignificant in the bigger picture because they need to save themselves from Amin first. Amin might go down, but Goku gets the trade. And it wasn't even shot down by RHK. It was shot down by AVIDA. They are having the last laugh and they're taking shots at both RHK as well as Nightmare Esports. Red Hawks. Will they get their wings clipped? They go for the reses. Seems like they'll be awake for now. Their lives spared for the time being. But I don't see any escape from here because they've been gate kept so hard.
It's going to be tough. Even if they're thinking to back off, there's Reckoning on the other end that we can see. And there's Ronit. He might have spotted, but it's going to be Blade. And what a shot that was! He instantly drops him, Crips. That was insane, and I don't know. I think Ronit was also scoping in ready for a shot, but it was quicker on the trigger for Blade.
Blade is quicker on the trigger. Makes his
হাতপাটিটা লাগে আর
opponents
আজকে
flicker
বাইচা
with
গেছে
death.
Double kill.
And now they're flirting with danger. Meanwhile, back towards the center of the circle, Kagendra also try to take a house for themselves. AVIDA and
Alex
TG,
is sure.
they're going to be respectful neighbors and let them go for the time being. They can't contest that real estate. GB Esports, they'll need to barge in. They're at the edge of the zone and they won't be able to hold on to their cover for long. And there's a massive gap between them and the other side of the road where there is the only other place of permanent cover. So this is going to be treacherous for GB.
Esports, as you said, treacherous indeed. And to make life difficult, teams themselves are banking on a fight, and NG Pros make a jump, and it's going to be on KAGENDRA. Falcons on the other end, Nate Parade on REVENANT XSPARK instantly wipe them, and the same happens for NG Pros who make a jump towards KAGENDRA. They lay the land flat, and what was this from NG Pros? Unanticipated. The team who were in the top 3 previously now get eliminated in the 10th spot.
NG Pros and REVENANT XSPARK, they both fall prey to utilities. REVENANT XSPARK were basically frozen to death by on fire. That is such a paradox. I never thought I would use the same words in this one sentence. Even reckoning esports fight the dust.
IQOO Total Gaming on the other end.
This
gives them a lot of attention. Pick a fight, but it seems like KAGENDRA, they're the ones who are receiving attention. They spot the player, rushing to Jojo is taking the damage, finally destroys that plushie, but on the other end, KAGENDRA are making a move, following the trail of IQOO Total Gaming, making sure that the right now action that's amped up, they want to continue it ongoing, but Jojo, he has to make a quick getaway, but he gets spotted by Shoto in the other direction and gets the knock, and now KAGENDRA have a man down.
KAGENDRA, at least they can focus on the revival. Jazz tries to make a run for it. Will he be stopped? Luckily, Total Gaming are busy fighting AVIDA, and AVIDA are busy shooting at GOW, so KAGENDRA might just be able to get their players back up in all this hubbub. Now GB Esports want to invade, and Total Gaming wants to keep them away. No entry for you, sir. There's way too much of an entry cost over here. The tax is too high. This is my house. KAGENDRA also want a piece of the spy. They're being forced in, but Falcons are indiscriminately firing at everybody that they keep eyes on. They don't care who is down there. As long as you're out in the open, you're gonna get shot at.
Right now, every team is getting shot at in various different directions because of Falcons at the very top of the tracks. And that's going to be trouble. Speedsy, I don't think he's going to survive. Flash Freeze doing the damage on the other end. IQOO Total Gaming hit with a couple of throwables from above. KAGENDRA, they somehow make sure that their players are all back up, ready for the next ongoing fight. However, Nightmare seems like it's only one player. GOW in the meanwhile, the players they lost, Rep and Demon, they will be instantly bringing them back, but the circle's closing in. IQOO Total Gaming, the position that they went to, they have to change it because right now, he's ready to block them off.
But IQOO Total Gaming will take some time to get out of that house. Unfortunately, AVIDA will be forced out first. GOW, they didn't have much to work with and they will be taken down. AVIDA are actually making a risky cross for the other house. They used so many glue walls to make it across, but they still managed to take 0 damage. Even though a kind of used on them. And now that they've entered that house, GB Esports will be forced out. Falcons take away that eliminations away from AVIDA. They deny them the point. And that's going to be GB finished off at 6.
আরে অনেক 2 ঘন্টার স্ট্রিম আমি আপনার কি মুখস্থ করে রাখছি ইত্যা দেখ ফালকন একটা প্রেডিকশন ঠিক রাখ
could have won in their favor, the positioning not working in theirs. AVIDA, I think that's the same story for them. They wanted a lot more out of it, and it will not be the same case in scenario. And same would go for Ayush from Total Gaming as the last one falls down. KAGENDRA now on the onslaught with Falcons.
Falcons blowing KAGENDRA to smithereens. They are keeping them so hard with explosives, launchers and M590s in their faces. And Falcons finally take this booyah. They hold on to the tracks above and they rain destruction and hellfire on everybody below. AVIDA Esports, they really tried to make their mark. They thought that because Total Gaming as well as KAGENDRA are fighting each other, they would be busy in that house, they would be weakened. And AVIDA thought they can just jump in while this distraction is happening. Unfortunately, they did not account for Ayush hiding behind a singular glue wall and just healing away inside the blue zone. So the moment AVIDA die, Ayush is like, okay, I can now reveal myself. I've secured third place for my team. Unfortunately, KAGENDRA were so oblivious to his position that they did not even get a chance to reset properly because they were just being bombarded by Falcons Esports.
unfortunate of this positioning. The zone had shifted very long back, and Kagendra, they knew they wanted to get to the zone. They knew where Falcons were, but the only problem that they had was IQOO Total Gaming right in the compounds that they were around, along with AVIDA keeping an eye. So they couldn't run out into the open. They might have gone under the tracks, but it would not have been enough grips, to be honest. That is the reason, as much as they could. Kagendra kept fighting, getting the eliminations, but you have to make sure that this Booyah was written long back, and they were the ones, like puppets, that making sure that every other team keeps dancing on their tunes, and it worked in their favor. As we will take a look at the total points acquired by every team in this respective game of Nextera that we witnessed, and finally we get back to the 30 plus total points coming in from teams, and it is from Falcons as they start things off. A total of 22 eliminations with 35 as a total. AVIDA not far away. They have 16 of their own, pushing the total to 23, and Kagendra as well have 13 of their own and 22 as total. But it is only Nightmare at the 4th spot, because previously this game, or previously this lobby, at least until the 7th spot, we ended up seeing double-digit elimination clips. Now it completely flipped.
Yeah, everybody aside from Nightmare Esports have single-digit eliminations. They are the last team who managed to get a bunch of eliminations to their name. So Nightmare Esports, as you can clearly see, is going on the aggressive end more. AVIDA Esports, they were blessed with a lovely position up until the very end. But even though they, got eliminated before Total Gaming, they still have more points than Total Gaming, who were alive mostly courtesy of Ayush. So kudos to him for getting a bunch of placements for Total Gaming. But for everyone else, Red Hawks, GOW, GB Esports, these guys basically could not do much at all. Falcons, on the other hand, it was so poetic, especially On Fire, because I remember this one triple elimination by On Fire. He used a freeze nade to completely wipe out Revenant XSPARK. I did not catch that on the camera. That elimination happened off screen. That squad wise was off the screen. But it was such a poetic sentence. Like, I'd never imagined myself saying he freezes the other team and his name is On Fire. I do not think those two paradoxical words could have been fit inside the same sentence.
And the way you've also put this in place is kind of, I don't know whether you say it ironic or just picture perfect. As we are closer to Christmas, it's winter times, and he's the one on fire, making sure everybody is getting not lit up, but frozen. What a way to turn things around for now. But as we see, he is the heaviest in terms of the damage and the eliminations at a total of 8. Even the damage surplusing 3,000. We'll talk about his teammates as well, who are very crucial in terms of their picks. As you can see, we are here at a chrono. We didn't see a plushie. That is the Nero coming in from the Falcons, and this is why we said not everybody is still getting towards those newer metas or the newer picks. They're still comfortable on what their team secures booyahs on.
Yeah, and Falcons are probably one of the only teams that use the Coda even in this lobby. I don't see any other teams trying to prioritize information like this. You can see that they only have 2 R1s, as we've seen a lot of other teams go for a triple R1 and like 1 Beastin, which is dedicated for the Grenadier. But their stats are ridiculous. Look at that. Almost everybody north of 3,000 damage. Only Kiroro is at 2,705, which is still pretty good, right? That's only like 300 damage away from 3,000. You have Limit X almost touching the limits of 4,000. That's crazy. These are some good eliminations from Falcons.
Limit X7 making sure he breaks every barrier limit that is there here for Nextera. And even their team as well as a whole. Look at them all having assists, making sure that they were a part of a game together, picking eliminations in their favor. And how did they make it happen? It is, we'll take a look and dive in the circle analysis. They made the jump right between Zipway and Rust Town, and from there slowly treaded in directions as they started the hit list.
Yep, as soon as they started the hit list, these guys were roaming around, keeping an eye on everyone, and occasionally targeting the teams. But as the circle moves in, look at this massive concentration of teams towards the south. You got Reckoning, Red Hawks, Nightmare Esports, AVIDA, all of them just fighting each other, trying to get inside this house. And once we get to this circle, you could see how Falcons were already on top of those tracks. And from there, they were just destroying everybody. GOW, they were the last team to leave that compound, so they got eliminated early. AVIDA held the zone for as long as they could. And then they tried to hop into the house where IQOO Total Gaming as well as Kagendra were fighting. And even though Avida's timing was amazing, even though they wiped out a lot of players in the process, they got an elimination too. They did not account for Total Gaming to just stay hidden and survive.
I think IQOO Total Gaming as well, as they made their move towards that last compound around Rustown, they thought, hey, it should be a good spot for us. The circle will be in our favor, but the number of teams that were there became a problem down the line. That's fine. Hey, it's Nextera, and again we've seen IQOO Total Gaming getting a booyah today, and on top of it, that could give them enough boost, but we are coming to the last game. That's going to be on Solara, and I think every team now in Group B need to make sure they pick up enough points, and we spoke about it, right? It seems like the cutoff, looking at yesterday's highest in terms of total, was at 132 coming in from the top team, and I thought that's where we should see the cutoff, but I still try to push it towards 140, and I still presume it might
SuMon
looking at how the lobby instantly changed from the games being around a total of 22 plus points to now 30 plus points. That tells you it depends on those particular big name teams that we are looking forward to, and let's see how it proceeds as we go ahead.
Exactly, man. These guys just have one last game to push it to the limit. Teams of Groups B, especially REVENANT, XSPARK, Nightmare Esports, GODLIKE, make every single elimination count here in Solara. Let's see if these guys will even get into any sort of fights based on their drop locations. We know that GOW, even if they stick true to their announcement and drop into studio, we know they're gonna rush into a fight very quickly. GODLIKE Esports don't need to worry much because this is one of the first. They still have a couple of games left. But teams like Nightmare Esports, they've been doing phenomenally today. If you take a look at the overall rankings just for this day, these guys are at the top. So they need to keep up that momentum and cross that 140-point barrier. The same with KAGENDRA. These guys have also performed really well on the previous day. Today, they just need to not have a bad game, and they should make it through.
Let's hope they all make it through. That's the fingers crossed for everybody, rooting for them in the 12 lot that we have in Group A and B. But as we said, like how we are looking at the preferred drop spot, it is just an idea. It could be their intent to go there. It is always not the case, and that is how the results also at the end of tomorrow is going to be, to confirm our best and the most looking forward to the championship 12 teams tomorrow for the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational, as Group A and C clash it out. But before that, Group B need to make sure they are also in that race, because it's going to be only one day of the grand finals with the champion rush activated, and that's where I look forward to all these teams going all out. Because as of now, to be honest, right, Crips, looking at how play-ins was, where teams were picking up pace so erratically and running and getting their booyahs in their name, here it's been a tad bit different. It seems like teams are leading opponents in the main event, and let's see if we've read it properly. We'll cast the predictions as well.
All right, let's take a look. I see that nothing in common this time. That's rather interesting. So I've picked up NG Pros because I think they are rather fresh and they don't really care much. This is a day for them where they don't have much risk. They have another set of games tomorrow, so they're going to be going ablaze anyway. So I picked them as one of my predictions. GP Esports, on the other hand, are going to be operating with a similar mindset. They still have games remaining, so they don't care much. GOW, on the other hand, they've been having phenomenal games. They just need to have one last decent game. They don't even need to win. Just need to have a decent game and they'll make it through. So that's why I've picked up these three teams.
I agree. I think on your picks, it honestly feels like they're ready. They should be the ones. However, a little doubtful on GB because their performance, yes, not the best today, but they're picking up points. On the other end, again, when I look at mine, I'm thought of safe picks. KAGENDRA, Falcons, and IQOO Total Gaming. We saw them in the top 3 as well. That happened in the Nextera game as well. Somehow I have replicated it even in Solara. But this was the only intention, was what Falcons started on Nextera, how we saw them. Should have happened way before when we started things on Kalahari, but it did not happen. And I think it should have happened even at the start of the day when Falcons made their entry itself. A lot of expectations. But it seems like this is them just playing around the minds of the viewers, just letting it be. They settle everybody down in terms of high excitement and expectations, and now while the day is about to end, they're shooting to the stars and they're going beyond it. 34 in the previous game sets the mark to tell that they're going for a lot more. And look at how well they're positioned. As soon as they knew where the circle was, using the hit list to have an idea about where the opponent is, and when they knew who the hit list was also on, it helped them even better, making sure that that team is in the other direction, I'll move in the other, and it worked for them. Now we will will be jumping into the last game, which is going to be Solara, to see if that's going to happen again.
And I love Solara simply because it's
No,
so
Brand
easy to
Red
rotate
is-
around here with those slide tracks. You can third party in really quickly, and I think it's the best way to end the day. I think that we should have Solara at the end on every single match day that we have, because this is the most action-packed map in my opinion. And for all these teams in Group B, they are just gonna go berserk. Falcons, they are playing with the champion rush condition mindset. We haven't really seen them go absolutely ham, but I think we'll see that later. For now, I just suppose every team is just gonna throw caution to the wind and run it down, jump down the throats of their enemies.
And they've done two of them, Delta, Isle and Windmill. Reckoning as well as GOW on the other end, Revenant, XSPARK as well as AVIDA. And there is a cluster a little bit towards Nightmare, Total Gaming and GB. And we jump down to Reckoning versus GOW. Right as now we've not found the first elimination of the lobby yet, but only damage is being exchanged. GOW know this is their last game of the main event, and they would want, if likely, to end on a booyah, making sure they've secured their qualification, but it could not just bank on a booyah as of now.
GOW have been given plenty of time to reset. Reckoning, on the other hand, they are going towards the outskirts of this place. UAV deployed by GOW, that's gonna be nice. They will get information. Meanwhile, Revenant XSPARK versus AVIDA has also started to brew up on the other end. Oh my lord, what am I watching? Or rather, what am I not watching? Revenant XSPARK instantly out? Oh boy, that's a bummer. 0 points for them.
And they were in Group B. It looks unlikely. It looks a little more scary for them. This is the reason I said how GOW are playing. They're making sure they make a wait for this. They know what they're dealing with. They do not want to go jump in blindly. And Red Hawks are also trying to do the same. They're hitting on GB Esports. With GB, they still have another day. Red Hawks, they don't have.
Yeah, Red Hawks also, they don't have many more games remaining. So while they have all 4 of their players back up online, I don't think they can afford any casualties early on. Total Gaming don't really need to worry all that much. They've got plenty of points in the bag. Red Hawks on the other hand, he gets a knock onto Aztec. And this fight between Reckoning and GOW, which has been going on since a year right now, it feels like, finally steps into action. Donut trying to escape inside the other room. Leon, hot pursuit. He does get the knock onto him, but instantly gets traded out. It's a 1v2. Ninja and Boats are just around the corner. Ninja lands the final blow, and GOW are out. The team that I expected to be the elimination incarnate in this game, they've been taken out instantly. And even Red Hawks are out. Oh my god, 3 teams from Group B are out of the picture, Lucifer. That's the end of the road for them.
I am surprised that this happened. I was just complimenting, thinking they were playing a lot more tactically. And 2 teams from Group B are out. GB Esports, they get eliminated by a mix of 2 teams. Godlike as well as NG Pros, and now it makes them meet and greet each other. But Yogi, he couldn't connect his shots, and NG Pros, now they have a good time. Do they jump towards Godlike? It seems like yes, they decide, because they want to completely wipe out. They have not gotten a booyah today. They have to and would want to get a booyah here in the main event as well.
NG Pros and Godlike Esports, I've been waiting to see their clash. These guys have been absolutely aggressive against everyone in the lobby except themselves. Except each other, rather. NG Pros, they know that Nancy has taken into the fence. Aztec follows him. Does he see Nancy on the other side? Nancy just about gets away. Marco has been spotted on the other end of the building. So Anubhav and Cropsy go in for the chase. Cropsy with that Max 7 almost got the knock onto him, but then puts up a glue wall. Instead, he's now getting double peeked by IQOO and Marco. Anubhav turns it into a 2v2. They try to isolate the battles, but they take shots between the glue walls, and Marco and IQOO are both down on their knees. NG Pros up at 7 eliminations.
They do push that to 8 as they secure the last. However, Godlike played smart by reviving Yogi in another direction. They also want to do the same, because they know they need a lot of points. Not like how Godlike are playing or Reckoning on the other end. It is them needing points. Sorry, NG Pros, they need points because they are sitting in Group B. They need to pick up pace, and they need to make sure they secure, as you mentioned, right? Reaching above 130 or plus. But Yogi, I think he had also revived his teammate. Thankfully, I could say, but on the other end, not much in terms of giving away points. KAGENDRA will be saying thank you.
That's the end for now. Total Gaming are getting
কি একটা অবস্থা করে তো।
Targeted by Kagendra. Because all these teams are on different slide tracks with no chance of really getting into each other's way just anytime soon. But the moment I say that, Avida and Nightmare Esports are taking long range shots at each other. There is a slide track, but it doesn't lead them directly to the other side, so they're gonna have to be careful if they want to use that.
Using a recall and reviving players is going to be Yogi again, bringing his teammates back up. And looks like Avida want to get closer towards an isolated player. That's going to be Hitman. What could these two players in this direction do? Can, on the other end, Hitman survive? Seems like he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, he went into the circle. He landed in the circles. I don't know why. I mean, he's going to take some blue zone damage, but he will get the knock onto Pablo. That's actually nice. Nightmare are now attempting to sandwich Avida. But Avida have plenty of cover inside that little house, so it's fine. And it's just the first circle, so it's not like they're going to take too much damage from this play zone. But Nightmare Esports don't want to let them breathe. They don't want to give them any chance. They try to go in for it. Hitman is down, so that's the flanker out of the equation. And now Farhan and Gopu have to make it count. The one drops the chrono. Instantly charge busters him in the face. And now Farhan finds himself all alone. Overcommitment from Nightmare Esports. And they pay the price with 3 of their teammates' lives.
The dash was good, but unfortunately the shots they did not connect. However, Falcons, they're ready to connect a lot more. Long Kong is down, and now Avida, they better be ready because On Fire is already on top of them. And Nusit moving in the other direction should be spotted by On Fire. And on the other end, making sure they don't get out. For now, they've used good glue walls, blocking players from making an entry. But I don't think that's going to work for long as Keroro with the launcher is ready. Found Pablo already. Tawan tried to make an exit. It did not work because on the other end was Limit X7 and limiting their movement.
Avida Esports now need to make a run for it. While their teammates have been revived, Anusid did not spend so much time at the vending machine only to lose his own life, and he's going to be rather frustrated. Yeah, sure, he manages to revive 2 of his teammates, but he will pay for it with his own life. Falcons get 4, and they'll be happy with it. Just going to continue into the zone like it's just another Friday.
For them, towards the end, it does kind of feel like that, but for now, it seems like another team and on fire. In terms of bullets is Manu. He is not found the elimination, and now Falcons will be wondering their approach because they thought it was only them picking off Avida, but it seems like the shots have been heard and Falcons are not out in the open. Nina has spotted. It could become a problem. Instantly puts up a glue wall, and on the other end, Limit X7 trying the same thing that he did with Avida.
So the moment NG Pros found out that the guy they just slayed has been revived instantly, they figured out that at least one of the members of Falcons is near the vending machine. That one member, who was Limit X7, has now repositioned towards the triangle house. But NG Pros are starting to realize that they might have just bitten off a bit more than they could chew because On Fire is behind them. And Manu, the guy who's supposed to provide Overwatch from afar, has been taken down first. NG Pros realize that they're in a sandwich. They'll be in a pickle if they don't get out. And they don't want to bite the dust this early.
See if this gets limited. Limit X7 from Falcons. Getting closer. He has the confidence because On Fire is trying to cover him from the position. Keroro on their other end as well. Propsy, he gets hit with a throwable. Not sure for how long he can hold behind the glue wall. He's out in the open, trying with a DSK, and there it is eventually in 3 different directions. Cropsy was stuck and will be confirmed as an elimination. Falcons have not picked up a lot in terms of aggression. Will push the total eliminations to 7, but look at Keroro alone already having 4 in his name, Crips. And again, Falcons playing around the edges. This time, they've played it even further away from the edges. They're still playing outside the zone. This tells me that they are again trying to play on that slow game, waiting game, survival game, and hitting it when the iron is hot.
Well, this iron is starting to heat up. Soon it's going to be glowing orange. And the team that swings the hammer first will get the advantage. take a look at the circle. So many teams left outside. Reckoning Esports sliding in towards Archway. Falcons, they have a long way to go. There's a potential gatekeep opportunity for AVIDA Esports, but I think they will much rather go into the zone first because they have a lightning zone on top of them. I don't think they're going to stick around and try to gatekeep Falcons, who are still quite a distance away.
Reckoning, they're also quite a distance away from the circle itself, but their strategy also seems trailing around the edges. But making sure not keeping a trail is going to be KAGENDRA, as they want points. It's their last game as well, and they're picking on NG Pros. Instantly, Manu picks up Aztec on the revive. Is that going to be enough? On the other end, AVIDA, who are defending Pablo for now. Falcons are right below on the terrain, and it seems like AVIDA are ready for it. But Falcons, they do not want. They are moving in the other direction, but they get hit shots on. Keroro, he's the one who gets knocked. Pina also was hit upon, but for now it is going to be Keroro. Thankfully, a compound. They will be back on their feet for the fight.
Ah, there you go, AVIDA. All that waiting, not worth it. Falcons make it in nonetheless. All the teams have all their players alive. And so far, we've seen a lot of teams go for this split approach where they try to send one of their teammates out on a mission to hunt someone else down, and then they are standing at the vending machine themselves. Now, most of these teams will not have the luxury of doing so. There's very few vending machines and recall towers still in play, and those are not going to come by easy. So the teams who have access to these towers can still afford to be a little more aggressive. Everyone else will now start playing from circle to circle. Falcons rush in. They really want this little fish for themselves. But you've got the fielding set by Nightmare Esports. Can they hold its crossfire? They maintain it. No, they can't. Kiroro blows up Farhan and instantly drops the Time Turner. He manages to get the res onto Pina as well. All those efforts from Nightmare Esports are going down the drain. That crossfire has been brought down to naught because Falcons don't suffer any casualties.
On the other end, AVIDA making sure they keep the casualties ongoing. They put players from NG Pros in trouble. Grab the eliminations, push it to 9. There is still one player surviving, but this noise has been heard by KAGENDRA and has been cited by AVIDA as their next ongoing fight.
KAGENDRA Esports going across this border wall. They finally spot the one. All four of them fire on them. The one puts up 2 glue walls just as an insurance policy, and now they're trying to pressure KAGENDRA from both the sides of this trailer. Lot of freeze bombs. I hope KAGENDRA brought their jackets. Yep, there's the flame to equal bomb. Help them go ahead. Dead and Kiba make their dashes close in the distance, trying to sandwich Pablo and the one, but they both fail. Kiba with the M590 does get one, but Blanco comes through with the instant trait. Anusit doesn't have the angles, has to fall back. He's trying to go across, but Anusit doesn't make it across. KAGENDRA, Jojo finally gets one more shot across, and Jojo with the final in the coffin. Takes a headshot onto Long Kong, and that's AVIDA eliminated. And despite their best efforts, they cannot gatekeep KAGENDRA.
KAGENDRA needed this. That's the reason their aggression trailed so hot. The way Dead just jumped into the fight and then hot trail that mix for his teammates, it worked out in their favor. But they did lose a player. They still have time to get that player back up. They have to wait for it, however. But they keep the fight ongoing. Jojo with the arm gets a knock on Falcons, and the player was in the other direction instantly gets revived. However, Manu could not be said with the same thing. He's stuck, and he will eventually be cleared off. But that was stolen from Total Gaming. And on the other end, now Falcons are stuck as the zone's closing in. No compounds, just a couple of boulders in front of them, and KAGENDRA do not want them to climb this terrain.
Yeah, they're forced to use the monster truck as their only piece of cover. Doesn't exactly help them cover themselves, but Cropsy is in a much worse situation, getting fired upon by not just Reckoning Esports, but also KAGENDRA. And now Reckoning need to make their way into the zone. They're just inches away from safety, but IQOO is starting to feel threatened. How much longer will GODLIKE continue ratting in Kalahari? And this game, they have been just down to one player, and that one guy must burden all this responsibility.
Let's see if that burden could be carried forward, but for now, KAGENDRA looking at their aggression, they want to keep it ongoing, and you spoke about the burden. One from that is Nightmare, who gets eliminated, the last man standing. But IQOO Total Gaming, they won that burden even on Falcons, as one player did get knocked, and as you said, it's only that monster truck and the number of glue walls which is now slowly trailing down. They don't have a lot in terms of util, and they're stuck. There's no way they can move up. And IQOO Total Gaming want to make these hits ongoing. However, IQOO Total Gaming have not backed upon a lot in terms of elimination, just have 4, causing trouble to even Reckoning Esports. Let's see if they can do something. They picked up the Booyah in the second game today that was in Bermuda. After that, we've not seen much coming in from there, and a lot of early eliminations could be this very end in their favor because IQOO now is troubling them. Nice launcher, and Ayush is down, and it's up to Mafia and Shoto. But he also gets knocked.
Now Falcons take this opportunity. Falcons are going to be thanking Godlike Esports for creating this opening. But Total Gaming have everybody back up. They use the UAV to reinforce their glue walls, and that gives them enough time to heal everybody up. Reckoning Esports, they are under elimination threats. Yes, and they have been eliminated. Total Gaming steal a couple of frags away from Kagendra. Kagendra was rightfully responsible for slaying Reckoning Esports, but Total Gaming turn it into a heist. And now Kagendra want to avoid Total Gaming because they've acquired the truck as cover. They recognize that Falcons are on the low grounds and they are a much easier target. So Kagendra try to move towards them. But Falcons, they keep on pressuring Total Gaming, which furthers the cause of Kagendra and lets them close in the distance.
It is the same 3 teams that we saw in the previous game. It is the same 3 teams to end it, but it is on Total Gaming as well as Kagendra to make a big hit, make this Booyah work in their favor. And look at Shoto, so aggressive, so many Ignises being used, but Total Gaming have their eyes on 2 teams at the same time, but it is mainly on Kagendra as they put numerous melters and cause trouble because they are also at the same monster truck which Falcons were holding a while before.
Over here alongside Kagendra, who have the risk of running of this being their last game. Falcons have all of tomorrow to make it work, so they want to close this day on a high. But for Total Gaming, this is their last chance, and they've got the numbers advantage. They must do everything in their power to close this run on a high. And Delete starts off with a lovely shot onto Pina. Kiroro is also going to be taken down by a skill, but Kiroro puts down a landmine before he finally bites the dust, which will help On Fire get another elimination onto Ayush. He even manages to confirm that frag with the glue walls. Meanwhile, Total Gaming, they go for another res, and that's going to be the cue for Kiroro to continue moving on, but he cannot clutch it out. Total Gaming, they go big in their last game.
They had to, it got way closer. Shoto could have been eliminated over there, but Mafia jumping in like the Superman of the team. The clutch Mastro making sure he is going to save them, get them this Booyah, jumps from above, and as soon as I was seen On Fire, knew he did not have an opportunity. He could not close that angle off and take that one-on-one with Shoto as he did while he was picking up the elimination. What a game for IQOO Total Gaming to close it. Let's talk about how they concluded it again. They held every team, kept watching, kept reckoning at bay, made sure Kagendra did not get closer, and Falcons, they held them at that zone, and because of which Falcons were just holding off, trying their best, and then Kagendra made a push, and that push gave the confidence for IQOO Total Gaming to make their own positioning, because of which they became a wall, they became a force that no team could fathom with, and also the advantage. They came from the higher ground, jumped upon everybody, and took them all down, and it was Mafia here in the last one, where he was going for a 1v1 with Shoto. You saw 30 to 40% of the health was drained, and Mafia with the last blow, making sure the Booyah is for IQOO Total Gaming.
IQOO Total Gaming stands strong. Second Booyah of the day, and my oh my, they managed to turn this day into a farm day because they have so many points in their kitty. 2 Booyahs on the trot, and with this, they finish their journey in the finale in style. I think we should help them cross the treacherous 140 mark, help them be safe, and we might just see them in the finale as well. If we don't, if some other team manages to actually overtake them, that would be an astounding feat.
Right now, with a big back-to-back on a day, if you would want to call it, Booyah twice on the given day of the day 2, and also with so much on them in terms of pressure is because today was their last day in terms of performance for Group B. They get a total of 22 points, 10 eliminations, 12 placement points, and just like how we were talking about Falcons, I think Total Gaming kept their cool. That is the reason they get this booyah. They waited for opportunities and then eventually it all fell in their place, worked in their favor. And this, again, is not a high scoring game. Again, you can look at the points table itself. Till the 7th spot, that is Godlike, we end up seeing double digits. That's going to be 12 total points. But till the 6th, we see double digits in terms of elimination, 10 being it. But before that, if you take a look above, KAGENDRA and Reckoning, they don't have double digits in terms of eliminations. But because they played a lot more in terms of placement, they still come up at the 3rd and the 4th spot at 17 and 16 total points.
But I do feel really bad for teams like GB Esports, REVENANT, XSPARK and Red Hawks. At least GB Esports might just get another chance tomorrow, but the other 3 teams, that's going to be the end of their journey over here, so I don't think they stand much of a chance to make it into the finale. At least GOW have had a fantastic day, so even if they lose out, as one of the first teams to go out in this last game on Solara, I think they can tank that loss. Kudos to Delete over here because he's the MVP of the team, dishing out 2,889 damage with 5 eliminations to his name.
Delete making sure everything works in his team's favor. As the Grenadier, we could see the numerous melters as well being used from his end, from his teams, and even when they're trying to do the damage, and even for the thrill of battle coming through, making sure anybody close by doesn't get an advantage in terms of their util, putting them shut, and that works it for the team, and he becomes the MVP as we jump towards the team stats as well to take a look at their unique active skills and passive build coming through, and they had the electrotherapy as well with Ayush, Skylar coming in from Mafia to make sure that clearing is going to happen with the Riptide Rhythm coming through, and Shoto, the aggression from this man looks unbeatable from anybody out there as of now, and with this last game that they were able to pull off as a booyah, as you said, enough points should be theirs.
Yup. These guys, they go around changing their team composition. Lovely use of the A124 as well as the Cassie to keep the heals coming. It is very weird to see Total Gaming not use that Chrono Shield because they were using that bubble so well during the FFMAI. Shoto also, it seems like the newcomers for Total Gaming, Shoto and Ayush, they are not phased by any of the pressure and they continue dishing out all the damage that they can, even though it doesn't match their counterparts in forms of Delete and Mafia. You have to give credit where it's due. Obviously, Delete and Mafia, the more experienced members of the team will have significantly more damage. But even then, Shoto and Ayush managed to lift their own weight.
I think this was very similar to how we ended up seeing players from, if I'm not wrong, PE Sports. Because the Assaulters were, in terms of an attention seeker, running rampant in front of the opponent's screens, making sure the shots are taken upon them. That gives the clearing that I spoke about, where Mafia and Delete could find a lot in terms of the knocks or the eliminations, which they do share. Now let's talk about how IQOO Total Gaming were able to grab the booyah in the circle analysis. I could see they did make their jump, grabbed their spot, turned around all the way from studio and held there for a long time. As soon as Dinoculars was used on them, they started making their way into the center, and you could see, I think, IQOO Total Gaming knew that they did not want to pick up a lot of fights in their favor, so they just held the center of the circle, waited for everybody, and that is the reason as well. They knew what this last game meant, and they waited for every other team to fight amongst themselves. As you can see, everybody was almost traveling half of the circle, whereas Total Gaming kept their position to the right.
Yeah, and AVIDA Esports were roaming all around the map trying to get as many eliminations as possible. Same with KAGENDRA Esports, picking up 5 eliminations in the 4th circle, and 2 more before they eventually bit the dust in the end. It's only Falcons and Total Gaming who made it all the way to the end, and Falcons did their share of aggression in the 2nd circle. They didn't do much in the 4th and the 5th circle, so that's why they were also rather silent. Even though Total Gaming don't have as many eliminations, I think this entire game is rather lackluster with that. Not as many eliminations as you might have seen in another map like Nextera or Kalahari, which is very weird for me to say because I thought Solara would be the most bloody map. I expected the ground to be crimson by now, running with rivers of blood, but it wasn't that violent at all. The teams did not go as hard as I expected them to. So I guess you can see that there was a bit of a spectrum over here, right? You have teams like KAGENDRA who don't have much to lose. They have had a pretty good tournament so far. They are like,
Rock
okay,
phone
last
খেলে
game,
একটা
let's just go all out. And again, they get a bunch of eliminations on the
হ্যাঁ
trot.
ওরা
but
রক
then
বেশিরভাগ
teams like
রক
Total
নাইলে
Gaming,
আইফোন
they treat the last
S25
game
এগুলা
as an opportunity to farm
একটা rock
placement
phone
points,
আছে।
and they played rather safe. So two very distinct and different ideologies
রকে
over
খেলে ওই
here
যে মাফিয়া
adapted
খেলে
as
রকে এটা
we
তো
see
জানি
the end of Group B matches.
বাকিগুলো যে কিসে খেলা যায় না
And as we've come to the end of Group B
ইন্ডিয়ার
matches,
বেশিরভাগ
it's time to
প্লেয়ার
talk
পায়
about the
আইফোন
cutoff points.
মানে
Yeah.
আইফোন এমন
Speculated
একটা
around
ডিভাইস যেখানে তোমার
135.
ফ্রেম ড্রপ
Is
কখনো
that
হবে না
the
তুমি
case is what we are going to be wondering about when we
অ্যান্ড্রয়েডে
see
খেলো
the
তোমার ফ্রেম
standings
ড্রপ
itself.
একটা সময় না একটা সময়
Will
হয়ে
that
যায়
be
কিন্তু
the
আইফোন
case? Is
কখনো
it going to be enough? Because again, today's at least ideology was that it could be around 135. It could again, telling you all, remind and change tomorrow as well when we end up seeing Group C. But for now, I think the main criteria or the main light to be shed on is going to be on all the teams from Group B. If they did enough to get closer to the 135 points, especially the teams who went out super duper early. Red Hawks, Revenant, XSPARK, who ended up losing early. GOW, who we thought had an opportunity against Reckoning, but they get wiped. And have they picked up enough points? Now, going back to what at least GOW did, they had enough points, Crips. To be honest, they were sitting at the day standings towards the top. So they should have done. But who knows? Cannot say the best until we have the overall result tomorrow as well. But let's see if that is the case today's in terms of 135 that we have seen.
Yep. So far, all the talents have predicted it somewhere around 135. I would like to encourage all the audience members also to put their prediction of the cutoff score in the chat. Keep in mind that only 12 out of the 18 teams will make it to the finale. So let's see if any of these teams that are playing today have a chance. Let's take a look at the overall standings, ladies and gentlemen. Here we will have... We will separate the wheat from the chaff. We will separate the boys from the men over here. And so far in the overall standings, you can see that Total Gaming, KAGENDRA, GOW, Nightmare Esports, Biggitron, Team Falcons, Revenant XSPARK, NG Pros, PE Sports, DRS, Red Hawks, and AVIDA are present. Now, keep in mind that all of these teams don't have their journey ending today. So the teams of Group B especially, you need to take a look at their scores and see whether or not they'll make it.
কালকে 100 লইলে তো 200
You could
পারে
see all the games played in
Total
that
gaming
first
তো
column.
মনে
You
হয়
could
শেষ।
see the 12,
না?
right? Nightmare, GOW, KAGENDRA, IQOO, Total Gaming
তো মনে হয়
should be
শেষ।
good. And what we spoke about,
হ্যাঁ, হ্যাঁ।
135, they're already at
আরে
139
টোটাল গেমিং
with
কোয়ালিফাই
Nightmare
করে যাবে ওদের
positioning,
প্যারা
but
নাই
when you jump towards Revenant XSPARK at the 7th
ফ্যালকন
spot, they're just
ফ্যালকন
sitting
যাবে
at
পয়েন্ট টেবিলের
95,
শীর্ষে নাইলে
which
বিগেট্রন
scares
বাই
me. And when we were
ভাইটালিটি
talking
Avida
about
minus-
the main event starting yesterday, and you did even mention
আমি
that
দুই দিন খেলছে মেবি
teams have now at least a little bit of an advantage if you want to think that extra 2 teams will be making it to the grand finals compared to the 10 lot that we did see in our play-ins. So I don't know if that is going to be enough in terms of a 95 and them being those last 2 teams to making it to the grand finals. And on the other end, a team who I think could maybe not at all make their mark, and it could be really unfortunate for every Bangladesh fan out there looking forward to and rooting for this team, because this
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
Red
last
Hawks er kotha koi.
representative which was here in the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational. It was none other than Red Hawks. A lot getting for them, rooting for them. Even AJ multiple times made those predictions that they should be the ones
ওরা বাংলা
doing a
বাংলা
lot,
জানে না
but
খবরে
unfortunately it
শিখাই
seems
দিতেই
like
বোঝে
this
নলা
lobby
পেতে
did
নলা
not work in their favor. They couldn't do much. They were grabbing eliminations, somehow found enough placement points, but it was not as much in terms of what today's cutoff we have thought of.
Yeah, and that is unfortunately the truth for a lot of these teams. But Red Hawks, the team from Group B, are at 11th spot now. It's highly unlikely that they will not be pushed. It's highly unlikely that they will continue staying in the top 12 tomorrow as well. So that's going to be dangerous. Let's take a look at all the other teams in Group B. You've got KAGENDRA. They are somewhat safe. Same with Total Gaming and Nightmare Esports. Revenant XSPARK might just have a bit of a dicey time over here. But so far, they don't have the sufficient cutoff points. I think this 135 is going to be even harder to achieve tomorrow, because some of these teams are in their 70s and 80s. That means they will have to get at least like 60 something points tomorrow in order to make it across. Yikes. That looks difficult.
Yes, I think it's like pricking you at every point as you're playing one game after another. You've still not made enough points. You've still not made enough points. A constant reminder that you wouldn't ever want to have. And now, as we've concluded Group B games, when we head over to Group C, Crips, to be honest, a lot of teams, the big names are there who did not step up to the fashion that everybody wanted to see. And especially for India, it was supposed to be SATUL Elite, and right now sitting at the 18th spot is them. We just saw the overall standings as well. And along with them, it is GB Esports from Nepal, who a team got back to back. Their
11টার
performance
আগে
same
ডাক
was
দিও
replicated.
একটা হয় আজকে
Sorry, it was
ওই
not the
ডিসিশন
same
নিতেই
that was
কোনো কিছু
replicated,
একটা
which we saw in the play-ins day 1 towards the day 3. Somehow they made it through. They had enough points. Reckoning, I think you could just still wait and give it to them, because on day 3 is where they completely went all out. PE Sports, they picked up a lot of points. Bigatron by Vitality, we're already seeing them towards that top 5, top 6 spots. Magna, they have to do a little bit of heavy lifting when things start to more at the 15th position that they are in. But DRS, a team that I would like to see again. When we do have one more Nepalese team coming in from GB, DRS is the other team towards the end who got that back-to-back booyah to end the day 1. Can they do the same thing? That's what I'm looking forward to, and change the cutoff as well tomorrow.
Yep, so far all the teams who have ended their gameplay, there's not much that they can do. The ball is out of their court now, and now they must hope that the teams of groups A and C don't end up outperforming them. That's who we're going to witness tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Teams of groups C and A will be locking horns with each other. One last day of the Free Fire Max Asia Invitational Finale. If you make it across, you go into the grand finals. If not, your journey ends here. Who's going to be in the top 12? Make sure that you tune in tomorrow to find out, ladies and gentlemen. This is it from our side today, but I assure you that tomorrow you are going to see some heart-pounding, sweat-inducing, high-octane Free Fire Max action. So tune in at the same place at the same time. See you again.
See ya.